that report. Can you tell me what's been going on? It noted some mental health concerns. Can you talk about that a little bit to me?
So I was ordered to go back to I'm into section 4, Bear 4, and in there, and then get a new area to live. I didn't like the environment I was in because I left the psych ward and went to the Bear 4, and I had a breakdown down in Bear 4, and I kept coming back from the Bears, and they told me that I told them I didn't want to go back to Bear 4 because there's a lot of drugs and things that are lingering around that trigger my thing of trying to get out on parole. So they're around me, and then I went over there. They talked. So the last time I was in there was just recently, not too long ago. That got me into mental health. They said that they pulled my date. They said they pulled my date. I didn't use any drugs or anything. They pulled my date to further my mental health evaluation. They pulled it out to determine if I'm stable enough to go to the halfway house, because they didn't want Scholl, my therapist, pushed it out a little bit. Well, determined that I have to do 2 more months of evaluation, because he's like, what happens when you go get out, and are you going to hurt yourself? Are you getting in trouble? It could be multiple things.
So what did you tell him when he asked you if you were going to hurt yourself?
I'm like, no, not on the outside. I'm not.
Okay.
It's just that this is what kind of ability. I want to make sure that you're okay.
Okay.
So I just trying to make sure I'm mentally stable. So far, these last 2 months, I think I have been.
It's good.
So I just don't,
Okay.
That's
Is
what
there
I-
anything that's changed in the last few months?
Mhm.
So medication changes?
Nope, just updated the dose of Zoloft.
They upped the dosage?
Yeah, up the dosage. It's been continued to help. So
You said of Zyprexa?
yeah,
And then what other medications are you on, sir?
I'm on hydroxyzine, thing for my thyroid, and then I can't think of the other ones.
That's
At that point, right?
what do you think of them?
They work.
Do you want to
Yeah, they work.
continue them?
Yeah, I want to continue them.
Okay.
Honestly, like, I don't want to. I want to have a chance on the outs, because I don't want to be stuck being homeless again, where it will come lead me back to prison. So I just want to be in a program that I could at least go to and help me out.
Okay, and we will definitely talk about that program too. So, and I'm just making notes of everything you're saying. Okay, I am.
I'm kind of nervous. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm making notes of everything you're saying. I appreciate your insight.
Just trying to get it together in my head. I wasn't prepared. So but yeah, I just had a lot of breakdowns. Like, I had one incident where I broke my ID in half and just started cutting myself.
When was that?
That was a few times way back. I don't know what, it's not on this paperwork, but it was on my last one, and I just had some issues, mental breakdowns.
Okay.
So
But it sounds like things maybe have been going a little better lately.
yeah, they've been going good.
That's good.
Everybody in this where I'm at is pretty nice. Helps me out when I need to talk to them. And
Oh, so you're talking to mental health therapy?
yeah, mental
Good.
health.
Good.
I have one that has the meds. I forgot her name, but she's been helping me with my meds and stuff like that. I take Depakote, and there's Depakote, and then what's that? Lithium. Those are the 2 I was missing.
Okay,
Also counteract my mood stabilization.
that's good. All right, sir. So I want to get to Dr. Mom's report. Do you remember meeting with Dr. Mom?
Yeah, she came and talked to me.
What'd you think of the report?
She says I did good.
Okay.
I think I did good.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some specifics about it. I'm not doing it to be rude or anything. I just want your insight, right? Because all I have is the report.
Okay.
So it went over the medication that you were on, and we've kind of already talked about that. It provided some diagnoses and recommendations. Do you remember those diagnoses and recommendations, sir?
You taking them?
Well, so so your overall diagnoses, do you remember those? Okay.
Bipolar? I don't know.
But
But
so her diagnoses were intellectual developmental disorder, other specified trauma and stress-related disorder, amphetamine use disorder, and attention to deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD.
I have ADD. So all that's new to me. That's why I remember when I got out of that interview, my whole brain was like taking in functions like around. I'm still the guy. I'm one of my friends, and I'm like, honestly, dude, my mind in that meeting, my whole ticks just started clicking and put more oil in my head. It's like I don't remember, like, because new words how she put that. I never heard them that way before.
Okay.
So
What do you think of those?
true.
Okay,
And to me, that's what I told her. So she based it off what I told her.
okay.
The meds and whatever they were doing.
And then I'm just going over the recommendations because I want to hear what you think, okay?
Okay.
So it suggested that you would benefit from services with the Division of Services for People with Disabilities, that you need a supervised apartment or group home setting.
That's the group, that's the thing, halfway house, right?
So that would be a, a possible one, and we will talk about that, MHSS.
Cool.
Yeah, she also recommended substance use treatment. She recommended case manager services to help apply for Social Security disability, that you would benefit from mental health therapy from a trauma-informed therapist. What do you think of those recommendations, sir?
I have it sounds good. Sounds, it's like something that she puts in. I didn't, she just wrote it down, so
So, but do you think those are good recommendations? You think they're helpful, not helpful? What do you think of those?
yeah, they're helpful. I can look into it, like, and the thing's me, so.
So, and it sounds like you've mentioned the MHSS, so let's talk about that a little bit. So the MHSS, Mental Health Support Services, is a halfway house. It's located currently at the Atherton facility.
Okay.
And what happens if you are given a parole date and you're recommended for that again, is you'll have someone come out here. Amy is one of the therapists.
He came and saw me.
I'm sorry?
He came and saw me already.
Oh, okay.
So,
So-
so it was a young guy. He was the young guy with long hair.
Okay,
He-
so there's a
he-
couple different therapists. Yeah, they'll come out, they'll assess you, make sure you're proper fit for the program. And it sounds like, as I remember from the prior evaluation,
Yep.
that they thought you were a good fit, but that they
Perfect.
just wanted to make sure everything was going okay
Yeah.
first. And then you would go to that facility if you're recommended for it and you're paroled to that. And they have mental health therapists, they have medication compliance. What do you think of all those?
But I have that, something that helps me with my compliance and health. I think that'll be the best for me.
So you would like the MHSS
Yes.
program? Okay. Any other things that you think would be helpful for you on parole, sir, if you are paroled?
Just do the best I can. Stay out of trouble. I'll come back.
So it does seem like substances have been an issue in the past, right?
I'm afraid, like, I just like, yeah, it's a substance, but I want to give it a chance like everybody else gets a chance.
Okay.
I want to give a chance where it's just at least like, because I did my matrix, it's 16 months, I already went past my 16 months matrix that parole was asking for.
So do you think you need substance use treatment? That's what I'm wondering if in the community, if that you think will help you.
Yeah,
be
I think that would
successful.
definitely be
Okay.
helpful.
And, obviously at the Mental Health Halfway House, the focus is mental health related services, but they also offer other things too. Okay,
The
sir.
halfway house?
Yes, at the
Okay.
Mental Health Halfway House. Yep. All right, sir. And you already noted that you're above your guideline, which is true, which was 16 months or September 22nd, 2024. I would note the expiration of your sentence, meaning the longest time the board could have jurisdiction over you, is May 22nd, 2038.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing comments or questions for myself or for the board, sir? Because those are all of my questions.
No, I just want to get out and prove be good, and get a chance out there, with the services that were read to me today, and I agree with them.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, I've made notes of everything we've talked about today. I appreciate you attending this hearing, and all of your comments will go ahead and conclude. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we are on the record. Today's a time and place set for a rescission hearing for Mr. Jara ESHETE. Am I saying that correctly, sir?
That's right.
Okay. Offender number 233813. Is that you, sir?
Yeah.
My name is Kelly Perry. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today. As is an official proceeding, I do need to swear you in, so if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. And do you mind getting a little closer to the microphone? It's being recorded. I just want to make sure we can hear you okay. Thank you. Did you receive 7 days written notice of today's hearing, sir?
Yes, I did.
Did you receive a blue disclosure packet?
Uh-huh.
And did you have a chance to review that?
Yeah,
Do you feel prepared to go forward with today's hearing?
yes, I do.
Are there any errors or corrections I should know about in that blue disclosure packet before we begin today? Okay, sir. So just to kind of tell you how today's going to go, since it's a rescission hearing, I'm not going to go over your offenses, maybe like you have done in prior hearings. Really, I'm going to go over procedurally how we got to this hearing, a few questions, if you're released, what that would look like. And then at the end of the hearing, if you have further questions or comments, let me know, okay?
Okay.
So it looks like you had a rehearing after a parole violation hearing where parole was granted for February 18th, 2025 with no disciplinary incidents and the Mental Health Halfway House MHSS program. And a special attention of October of last year, it was noted that you were involved in an assault and that criminal charges were being screened. And a special attention also in October of last year, it was noted that you were formally charged in case number 241912414. The board rescinded your parole date and scheduled this rescission hearing. At the last rescission hearing, it was continued due to some medical issues, I believe we were having.
Yeah,
How were those medical issues, sir?
they've been all right.
Did you go to the hospital?
Yeah, I went to the hospital for them, for a couple of them. But I just been having seizures a couple of times.
Have they increased or?
No, it's just usually once a month. So
Okay. And sir, I would note that case 241912414, I still show it's pending and that the case has not been adjudicated. So I'm not going to talk about it today and I'm not going to talk about that September assault because you have possible criminal charges, okay?
okay.
So kind of looking over your prior history, it looks like alcohol has been an issue in the past. Is that right, sir?
Yeah,
What's your current attitude towards alcohol?
I think it's been all right.
Can you tell me what you mean by that?
I haven't drank for the past 7 years now.
Okay. Do you want to drink?
No,
And why do you think that's changed?
because I've been locked up for so long, and it's just I really don't need it in my life.
Do you think you need substance use treatment? And why is that?
I'm not sure.
It's okay. Do you think it's because you don't feel like using? Do you think it's because you've already dealt with your substance use issues?
Don't feel like using.
How's your mental health, sir?
It's getting better, but it's still I still have epilepsy once a month. So that's one thing, one issue I'm been handling and having to go through these past couple of months.
Thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm making notes of everything you're saying, okay?
Yeah,
Are you currently taking any mental health medication?
yeah, I am.
What are you taking, sir?
Depakote and Lamictal.
And how's that working out?
They're doing all right with it. They lowered my Depakote levels about a week ago just because I've been on it a little bit too high of a dose. The lady thought, Leslie thought, it might not be good for me.
Do you plan on continuing those medications if you're paroled?
Yeah.
How's your physical health been, sir? I believe you were involved in a car accident, right? A while ago?
Uh-huh.
How's the effects from that?
I've been all right. Everything is okay.
Okay. All right, sir. If you are released, sir, what are your plans? Where do you plan on going? Do you want that mental health halfway house or what are you hoping for?
Halfway house would be all right. with me.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
Have you gone to the MHSS Mental Health Support Services halfway house before?
Yes, I've been in Fortitude. I'm not sure if that's MHSS.
So that's a different program. And that's a halfway house as well, but this one specifically deals with mental health related issues. So it has mental health therapists, medication compliance. It's at the Atherton facility currently. If you are given a parole date, you'll be assessed by the therapist there, and then they'll give a recommendation to the board about whether you're accepted to the program. I do think with your pending criminal case that the board is going to likely set out some paper reviews to determine what happens in that case. And if it is adjudicated and you're found guilty, if it's a board jurisdiction or not. Obviously, if you're found not guilty, the board will deal with it that way too. So, but it sounds like when you are able to parole that the mental health halfway house might be something you're interested in. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. All right. So any other things that you think would be helpful for you on parole?
No.
All right, so those are all of my questions. From here, I'm a hearing officer. I make recommendations. The board ultimately decides. They're made up of 5 members. 3 of them have to come to one decision. That's the decision of the board. You should get that in writing within 2 to 4 weeks. Your family members or friends, anyone listening to this hearing via video can go to bop.utah.gov. As soon as we have the decision, we post on our website. And so it'll take some time. It's not immediate, but it's faster on the website than the mail, so someone can look that up for you. I note the expiration of your sentence, meaning the longest time the board could have jurisdiction over you, assuming no other offenses, August 4th, 2034.
Okay.
Do you have any closing comments or questions for myself or for the board, sir?
No.
I appreciate you attending this hearing, all of your comments. I've made notes of all of them. We'll go ahead and conclude. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Three.
All right, we are on the record. Today's a time and place set for an original hearing for Miss Jennifer Lenamond. Am I saying that correctly, ma'am?
Yes.
Offender number 247392. Is that you, ma'am?
Yes.
My name is Kelly Perry. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today. As this is an official proceeding, I do need to swear you in, so if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Did you receive 7 days written notice of today's hearing?
Yes.
Did you receive your blue disclosure packet?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to review that?
I did.
Do you feel prepared to go forward with today's hearing?
Yes.
Are there any errors or corrections I should know about in that blue disclosure packet before we begin today?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Well, we'll be going over a lot of it today. So obviously, if something comes to, that you want to point out that's inconsistent, please let me know, okay? So just to kind of tell you how today's going to go, I'm going to go over procedurally how we got to this hearing. I'm going to go over your offenses. I'm going to give brief descriptions of them. The longer versions was in that blue disclosure packet, your pre-sentence investigation. We'll go over any background questions I have, institutional behavior and programming, if you were released, what that would look like. And then at the end of the hearing, if you have further questions or comments, to let me know, okay?
Okay.
And a special attention, it looks like in December of 2023, the board ordered the original hearing for now. The board also noted that prior to this hearing that they expected you to complete cognitive behavioral therapy, which includes moral recognition therapy, MRT and its equivalent, and substance use treatment prior to this hearing as evaluated to be appropriate. The board returned cases 2219-03142 and 2017-00875 to the trial court to determine restitution, and case number 2219-02290 to the Office of State Debt Collection. Does that sound procedurally correct, sir? Or correct, ma'am, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
First case I show 2017-00875. I show in January 2019, officers responded to a theft at Buffalo Wild Wings. Ms. Lenamond had stolen tips from one of the waitresses. A review of letters after the case had been adjudicated revealed they had been forged, and the attorney requested the investigator look into the matter. Investigators met with managers at the restaurant about character letters in support of her, and in those letters they said they had worked for her. The manager did not recognize those names. Throughout the investigation, there were multiple letters from people who did not exist or did not write the letters. It was determined she had contacted potential witnesses. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, partially.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
So there were 15 character reference letters submitted, and 5 were fabricated.
But we're
Were fabricated.
gotcha. And kind of give me insight into why you did that. I mean, because it sounds like you had some character letters which were in support of you, right? So I guess why for the 5 ones that you did?
If I had any logical explanation to, some of the dumbest decisions that I've made in my life, apparently I didn't find satisfaction in the 10 generous letters that were written on my behalf, and I didn't think any further into consequences or, I have honestly no logical explanation as to why I did that. And it's caused a great deal of aftermath. So again, I don't have any good answers to why I did that. I wish that I had have, just been more than happy and satisfied with the ones that I did have.
Okay. And I appreciate your insight, ma'am. I obviously realize I'm asking difficult questions. I'm just trying to get insight, right? Because all I have is that description of the offense. And so that's why I'm trying to get as much insight as possible. Were you using substances during the time?
Yes.
Okay, what were you using?
Heroin.
Okay. Do you think that may have clouded your judgment in regards to maybe writing some of the letters, or?
I think that it's definitely caused a lot of judgment errors over, the past 15 or so years. So I think that it contributed to a lot of my poor decision making.
Okay. All right, next case, ma'am, 2219-02290. I show on April 23rd, 2022, the victim reported his Xbox and other items been stolen. Officers found the items were pawned by Miss Lenamond at a pawn shop. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Anything you want to say about that offense?
As to the actual offense or reasonings or,
Whatever you'd like to say about it.
it's just was another impulsive decision that, I should not have done. There were reasons at the time that I felt justified in it, but in reality, there was no justification for what I did. I just did it and, it shouldn't have happened.
And I'm making notes of everything you're saying, okay? I want you to know I am listening, okay? And last case, ma'am, 2219034142. I show November 15th, 2022, an officer responded to a report of a reckless driver. Several complaints were made, saying the vehicle was going north and crossing all 3 lanes of traffic. The vehicle would go head-on towards other vehicles driving south. The complainants followed the vehicle where it stopped. They took the keys and waited with the driver, Miss Lenamond, until officers arrived. She was unable to stand still and appeared drowsy. When she talked, it was hard to understand her. She failed field sobriety test and kept falling asleep. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Anything you want to say about that offense?
Again, due to substance abuse. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that I do remember about that specific day, which I do realize, sorry, I just have a lot of guilt about that. So that's completely unacceptable. And I'm lucky that I didn't wake up with different charges, but other family members of anybody else that it could have hurt. And I just, I had mixed fentanyl and Xanax, which was one of my prescriptions, but
At the time?
yeah. And that absolutely shouldn't have never have happened. I'm just very grateful that I didn't wake up with the knowledge that something worse had happened. And I realized how much of a risk and danger I was at the time with those actions and the decisions that I was making.
And ma'am, I do appreciate some of the stuff you're talking about. Obviously, this last offense, I understand no one was hurt, right? But the potential there, and the board has seen as a result of driving under the influence, death, catastrophic injuries. So it's a threat to literally everybody on the road, right? Any pedestrian and anybody that's out, right? So I do appreciate your insight. It sounds like you don't remember much of this. Do you contribute that to the substance use?
Yeah.
Had you, and ma'am, I also, in regards to that, see not just this DUI, but I show DUIs in other states, right?
About 15 years ago, I had another one. I think I was 20 or 21 in Arizona.
What were you using then?
That was alcohol.
And did you serve prison time for that one? So, and I understand you were using something different now, right? But it sounds like this has happened again. So what is the same or different now moving forward
What's different?
in regards to whether you'll be
Or
drinking or driving?
Specifically that, is- there's a lot of history of drug use. I've used heroin since I was 17. I don't drink. I haven't drank since that DUI, in Arizona. There's a lot of things that are different in me personally now that I can say today that weren't at all something realistic in my past. I mean, I can go in depth with
I
that,
mean-
or I can just,
So part of this hearing, ma'am, right, is to talk about some of these offenses, right? But it's to talk also about what's different or the same moving forward,
Right.
right? Because obviously, it sounds like substances have been an issue. And I'm wondering if you want sobriety, which especially while driving, obviously, no drinking and driving, no doing substances and driving. Because obviously, if you're sober, that's good for you, that's good for the community. The board wants to see that. So I would like an explanation of how things are different now.
Absolutely. I have a whole page solely
Go.
based on that, so I didn't know if you were wanting like a short answer or if,
No, you go for it.
there's, so prior to coming here, and I know I'm already like super emotional right now, and that in itself is something drastically different. So I was a very isolated, angry person that just used, I got up, worked, solely motivated to work so that I could use and maintain that habit. I didn't have any desire to progress in life, to go any further. I got through every day, and that was hard enough to get through every day. I lived a very alone, miserable, self-absorbed, emotionless, emotionally dead type of life. And I couldn't even get one day clean. I could never get through any of that. Not wanting to withdraw, not wanting to, I would go to jail for like a few days at a time or maybe a month, and couldn't wait to get out so that I could use again. That was the only thing in my line of sight. And so I've been incarcerated for 1.5 years. So I have a 1.5 years off of heroin and fentanyl. The desire to stay clean, to live a life of sobriety is a different change, a huge change that never existed in me before. I had the desire to stay clean or anything along those lines, just didn't exist in me. I had a zero desire to do MAT programs, the medically assisted treatment. I just thought that would hinder any drug use that, I was hoping to have in my life. And so I was completely against that.
And I'm assuming
Fire.
that's changed.
Yeah. These are all things that are completely opposite of before. There's, with the 1.5 years of sobriety, there's been a huge emotional change. I can't express how dead I was emotionally, and I feel now. I feel remorse, I feel happiness, I feel frustration, I feel regret, I feel guilt. Every type of emotion I feel, and I just have a lot more awareness and just awareness of consequences to every action and concern about those consequences. I think that just the time away from using has cleared my mind drastically. I don't think that I ever even cared about whether I OD'd or not. I even hoped for OD sometimes just to get out of this existence. I wasn't even living, it was existing. The desire to change my environment. I live near Ogden, sometimes in Ogden, sometimes in West Haven or Roy. And my plan is to, parole to Salt Lake, to get completely out. I've never been in Salt Lake. I've never met anybody in Salt Lake. I've never anything. So I have no association or affiliation with anything to do with Salt Lake. And that's a part of my plan.
Well, it sounds like you're thinking about things that you think will help in your sobriety, right? Concrete plans for parole, and I think that's really good, right? So I commend you on that. Do you think you need substance use treatment?
I do.
Okay. What does that look like to you? Does that look like inpatient? Does that look like outpatient? Does that look like in prison? Does that look like in the community? What does substance use treatment mean to you?
So I think that I would benefit. I think inpatient is a good option for me. But I know that I am contingent on Elevate and have not been able to successfully complete that.
And why do you think that is?
I have not been able to for positive UAs for Suboxone. That's the reason that's gotten me removed from that program.
That you were using Suboxone, you
Um,
said?
Yes.
Okay.
However, there's a lot of other reasons that I don't feel like Elevate specifically is the program to help me. And I want to go through treatment to just go through it and not fully invest myself in it. I want to go to a program that I can gain something from, that I can walk away and have that I didn't have before going there. I don't think that a treatment place is gonna fix everything in me. I think that it's gonna just help me in the areas that I need help getting started in. Um, there's, I want to say this, I don't want to fix Elevate. I don't want to critique Elevate. It's not that. I just want to identify the areas that are not helping me, that I feel like I could be helped at another treatment facility. Um
And what, have you looked into specific facilities?
I have. So um so the first one that I looked into, I've looked into many. These are just like the top 4 or 5 of them. So Golden Steps was one of them in Logan. They accommodate mental health, substance abuse with MAT treatment, with anxiety disorder help. They get stability going with like their goal setting. Another one that I actually think would be really good for me, that I probably think I like, one of the top 2 that I like, is Liberty Addiction Recovery in Bluffdale. And they focus on education connection, life goals, vocational training, employment pathways, and they utilize MAT treatment. Turning Point in Mill Creek is another one. Communication skills, life skills, impulse control, emotional treatment, goal setting, problem solving, anxiety, mental health, and MAT treatment. So these are the 2 top ones that I think I could gain a lot from, that sound like they personally accommodate my needs. So another one that I talked about with my caseworker, my case manager, Huli, was Odyssey or Orange Street. And I think Orange Street probably would be preferable to Odyssey. Just they allow MAT, it's time to save up money to get stability and self-reliance. It's still connected closely to the Department of Corrections. So there's just, I'm not concerned too much about like the timeframes of treatments. I think 30 days is way too short to actually gain something from it. But I don't feel confident with the struggles that I have with Elevate, that it's gonna be beneficial. I think you can learn something out of every situation, out of every day. You can always learn something, but I just don't think that that's the treatment
Program that's for you.
program that's gonna help me. And I just wanna say things exactly how I mean them. So I'm sorry if I take like a little bit longer to say them. I just wanna make sure that I properly, communicate what I'm trying to say and why.
Well, like I said, ma'am, I have no problem with that. And it sounds like you've researched this, which I really appreciate you coming to this hearing and looking into those programs. And I'm asking you, right? I'm asking you what you think will help you with your sobriety, because it sounds like you really want that and you're aiming for that. So that's why I'm asking you, right? So I appreciate that insight. I do show you completed MRT, is that correct?
Yes.
How was that?
It was great. That's actually on my other page. I think MRT was an amazing course to take. I think that it helped me. I know that a lot of people that I was in the class with, I know it helped them a lot. I think I learned a lot from MRT. I've never set a goal in my life that I cared to achieve or work for. Like, I've never done that. I hated goal setting. Anytime I had to take a class for probation or I had to do anything, I hated goal setting. Probably because I didn't care if I had a future. But I learned a lot about, honesty, consequences of my actions, not just on myself, but on everybody that I loved and claimed that I love. That my actions just didn't match up to, what my mouth was saying. And a ton about goals and smaller goals to meet those goals and what I had hoped to be in the future, and a desire to be in the future, and a desire to progress and to not just exist how I was. The ability to communicate and the confidence to communicate my feelings, my thoughts and experiences in the class. I think that that's probably the most like vulnerable that you can be is, talking about like the crappiest things that you've done. And then realizing that and then seeing where you want to go from there, not staying stuck in it, but seeing where you want to go from there and how you get there. And not these unattainable, unreachable goals, like the smallest goals from like this week to next month and next year and then 5 years and 10 years. So I really enjoyed that class. And I think that it was because it wasn't such a like, oh, it's a 6-month long class, that goal in itself to complete it seemed attainable. And it was just the shorter courses that you worked through and then you graduated from it and you're like, yay, and then on to the next. I'm in a transition class right now and I did ideas for better communication. I think those were all great classes that you can walk away from and say that you really took something away from that.
Well, I appreciate all of your comments, ma'am. I would note that the board received letters of support also as well. I've reviewed those letters and the board will have access to them. Okay, ma'am, those are all of my questions. From here, I'm a hearing officer. I make recommendations. The board ultimately decides. They're made up of 5 members. 3 of them have to come to one decision. That's the decision of the board. You should get that in writing within 2 to 4 weeks. Your family members or friends, anyone listening to this hearing via video can go to bop.utah.gov. As soon as we have the decision, we post on our website. It's not immediate, just so you know, it'll take some time, but faster on the website in the mail, so someone can look that up for you. I know your guideline is 26 months or June 20th, 2025. Easiest way to think of that is a suggestion. The board ultimately decides, right? Do you have any closing comments or questions for myself or for the board, ma'am?
There's a few things I wanted to talk about other than everything else that.
And just so you know, we are kind of on a shortened time, and I appreciate your comments, but yeah, but any other comments you have?
Okay, so just a couple of things about Elevate. I think it's been attached to the packet. But I think my main concerns, I don't want it to be perceived that, oh, she's, getting positive UAs and can't go to substance abuse because she can't do that. That's not the whole picture. I do think that the struggles that I have with Elevate, specifically as the, treatment program that I'm required to do before released, is like the mental health part of it, with the meds up and down, started and stopped, doctor changes that, have been up and down and all over the map over the last 3 to 4 months. And the inability to have the medically assisted treatment available. And there's some girls in the prison that do get it and then other girls in treatment that don't get it. And I think that those two together would add to my success in a treatment program. I think that they all need to be in combination with each other, working together to give me my best hope and success. Some of the other things that concern me about Elevate, just for me personally, again, I'm not trying to critique their program, it's just for me personally, is that there's a lot of just filling the day with things just to fill it. I feel like I can be more productive at, again, one of these other treatments that, we talked about earlier. I think there's just a lot of distraction, from actual substance abuse treatment. I almost wish that there were substance abuse classes that I could take here outside of Elevate. I think that being in that section, in the program, in prison, I think that all those things added up distract from actual treatment. There's a lot of fear in that treatment, and I just don't think that fear is always a great motivator for certain people. I know it's not for me. So again, I truly want to be invested in, you know, the treatment facility that I'm doing. I just don't think that that canopy type of treatment is beneficial to me. I do have a transition plan. I have multiple ones of them. And I think that those are all subject to change based on whatever happens with the board, obviously today. So I do have a plan and a backup plan and support with those plans. There was in the write-up section of that the blue packet said that I was seen on camera removing a weapon from the section. So that was one of my biggest concerns because that looks and sounds horrible. And I asked my caseworker or my case manager to get the IDHO findings from that. And the IDHO officer has been out for the holidays, I guess, for the past couple of weeks. So he was unable to get that for me to bring here to give to you guys or show to you guys
Well, you're always welcome to submit a letter to the board.
afterwards.
So just to make sure, are you saying you did not have a weapon?
Absolutely not. So the IDHO's findings was that somebody else was in a fight, used a broomstick to hit another female. And after everything was said and done, the IDHO findings said that I was seen sweeping up the splinters left on the bathroom floor from that. So that's not, that's not accurate representation of what happened. Other write-ups I passed, I did everything. I'm fine with those write-ups as they were expressed. It's just this one is not represented well. And there was like 5 people that cleaned up from that got the same write-up. And so it was literally just splinters. And I don't want it to sound like, oh, I'm minimizing this or that, but this is absolutely something that I need them to understand.
And
I
I,
had no weapon. I did not remove a weapon. I swept up splinters. So.
and I'll definitely make note of that, ma'am, and I appreciate your
Yeah,
insight, okay?
thanks. There was another thing that, this is the last one. So my therapist from Elevate had written me on the tablet, and her recommendation was that I do another treatment that offers MAT and that would accommodate me more. She, like, quote, said that she's unallowed to give her opinion to the board. She can't communicate with the board. She can't do any of that. So I had my case manager, Huli, come in and read that message, and he was supposed to express that in the blue packet, and he did not. So, I mean, I can ask him, obviously, if he can verify that.
I can just make note. ma'am.
Okay.
You're letting me know I can definitely let the
Okay.
board, and that's what I'm doing is I'm making notes, okay? So of everything you're saying, so, and I will definitely make note that that's what your therapist asked for, okay?
And that's it.
Well, I appreciate all of your comments and your insight today, ma'am. I've made notes of everything we've talked about. We'll go to conclude. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, before we get started, we'll go ahead and have the interpreter introduce himself to Mr. Garcia.
Señor García, muy buen día. Mi nombre es Miguel Aguirre. Voy a estar trabajando como interpretación para poder apoyarlo con el tema del idioma. Muy buenos días.
Buenos días, gracias.
No hay de qué.
And then I'm just going to put you under oath really quick as well. Just, do you swear and affirm that you will interpret accurately and to the best of your ability, sir?
Yes, I do.
And will you state your name for the record as well?
My name is Miguel Aguirre.
Thank you. This is the time and place set for an original hearing for inmate Ronaldo Garcia, inmate 227012. Is that you, sir?
Señor García, esta es la sesión que ha sido determinada para usted. 22702. Usted es el señor Reynaldo García, ¿correcto?
Sí.
I'm
Yes.
Kathleen. I'll be conducting this hearing today. Because I'll be taking testimony from you, I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me so I can place you under oath.
Yo voy a estar haciendo esta audiencia el día de hoy. Como voy a estar tomando sus declaraciones, necesito que usted levante la mano derecha para hacer la declaración jurada.
Do you swear and affirm the information you're about to give is true and accurate, the testimony?
Usted jura y afirma que las declaraciones que usted va a realizar el día de hoy van a ser correctas y fidedignas.
Sí.
Thank you. What I plan on doing, sir, is going over your current committing offense. We'll see what you've been up to since you've been here, and we'll discuss your sex offender treatment programming as well.
Lo que vamos a hacer el día de hoy es ver la ofensa por la con relación a las defensas.
You keep cutting out. Sorry, you've cut out a few times.
I have?
Yes.
Okay, my is as close to the router as I can. Let me try again. Señor García, estamos viendo dónde está la audiencia de la ofensa que usted fue acusado y estaremos viendo también los procesos que usted ha estado realizando para el tema de los tratamientos de abusos sexuales.
Gracias.
Thank you. In case 211-901-313, you were convicted of a Class A misdemeanor, voyeurism, which occurred around May 28th, 2021.
01303, que ha sido un caso en su contra, con el tema de voyerismo, que es el estar mirando a las personas, digamos. ¿Qué nos podría decir de eso? ¿Qué esto ocurrió?
Ultimately, basically what happened is it states that you climbed onto your roof and were observing the neighbor's 12-year-old girl in her bedroom. Is that accurate, sir?
Básicamente la acusación es de que usted se subió a su techo y desde ahí usted estaba observando la niña vecina de 12 años a través del dormitorio de su recámara.
Culpable.
correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like me to know about that?
No.
Sorry, you cut, I didn't hear anything you just said.
It's the Colorado Internet. ¿Hay algo más que usted quisiera comentarme referente a esta acusación?
Pues nomás quisiera pedir perdón y la verdad no pensaba en el daño que estaba causando y perdón y todo arrepentido.
Just wanted to extend my apologies and to ask for forgiveness so that I feel remorseful about what happened.
Okay. In case 201-902-824, you are convicted of a third-degree felony lewdness. This occurred around November 30th, 2020.
Tenemos otro caso que es el 201-902-824, que sucedió más o menos el día con relación a lewdness. ¿Qué nos puede decir de este caso?
This occurred where Ogden officers responded to a lewdness call. 12-year-old victim called her father stating that you attempted to get into their house. When that failed, you went into their backyard, masturbated, and allowed a dog to lick your penis. Is that accurate, sir?
En esta acusación se dice que usted trató de inducir a una niña de 13 años y que trató de forzar la entrada a la casa y que terminó posteriormente masturbándose y permitiendo que un perro lama sus partes íntimas. ¿Qué nos puede decir de eso?
Pues igual que me perdonen y la verdad no sabía el daño que estaba haciendo y estoy muy arrepentido igual y la verdad quiero que me den la oportunidad para ser una mejor persona, mejor padre y mejor esposo.
Basically the same. I very much regret my behavior. I was not aware of the damage that I was causing. Just want to apologize and I want to be given a new opportunity to become a better father and also a better person.
You have prior sexual offenses, correct, sir?
Usted tiene otras acusaciones de situaciones sexuales, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Tell me what keeps you continuing to offend.
¿Qué es lo que usted considera es lo que causa que usted continúe con estas ofensas?
Yo pienso que a lo mejor puede hacer que antes no sabía y ahora el programa que terminé me ha ayudado bastante y miro las cosas diferentes porque la verdad las personas no son objetos sexuales y ya eché de ver eso y espero que me den la oportunidad para yo aplicar y poner en práctica lo que he aprendido.
Treatments and programs that I have received have taught me not to perceive sexual objects, and I have the hope of being given the opportunity to prove what I've learned and that I can become a better person.
Okay, but what usually causes you to act out?
Pero, ¿qué es lo que normalmente ocasiona o qué es lo que causa que tú tengas estas actitudes y estas acciones?
A lo mejor ha de haber podido ser que no expresaba mis emociones con nadie, no hablaba con nadie. Puede ser el machismo, que no me gustaba que me dijeran cosas que tenía que hacer.
It could have been an issue of being like a male chauvinist in the sense that I didn't want to do the things that people would tell me to do. And also, I very much kept things to myself. I never spoke about my feelings and about my thoughts.
With your forcible sexual abuse in 2018, how old was the victim in that case?
Lo que tú tuviste de abuso sexual en el 2018, ¿qué edad tenía la víctima?
Creo que 20 o 20, 22, 21 por ahí.
I think she was between 20 and 22.
Excuse me. Okay. I do show that you have completed sex offender programming in December 11th. Is that accurate, sir? Sorry, I can't hear you again.
He visto que tú has terminado un curso sobre el tema de este tema en relación a la sexualidad en diciembre. ¿Es correcta esta información?
Sí.
Yes.
We received the discharge summary as of the 31st, which you probably did not receive yet.
Nosotros ya recibimos los resultados al 31 que tú probablemente no has recibido.
Did your therapist discuss what their recommendations that would be presented to the board would be?
¿Tu terapeuta comentó contigo de cuáles eran las recomendaciones que iban a hacer a la Junta?
Me estuvo explicando ahí más o menos y pues la verdad yo estoy dispuesto a cumplir con lo que me pongan.
He gave me some general details and basically I'm willing to comply with whatever is put before me.
Okay. More than likely, if you were to parole, sir, you would have sex offender A conditions, which would permit you from being able to be around any children whatsoever.
Si
Are you
tú-
willing to, are you willing to comply with that?
Si tú llegas a completar, digamos, los requisitos para poder ser liberado bajo fianza condicional, probablemente tendrías que abstenerte de estar en cualquier proximidad de cualquier niño. ¿Tú estarías dispuesto a a cumplir con ese requisito?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not saying that the board is going to parole you. It will be ultimately up to them. But regardless, you have an expiration of June 14th, 2026.
No estoy diciendo que te van a liberar, eso es una decisión que tiene que tomarla, pero sí tienes una fecha de tentativa de liberación condicional para junio del 2026.
Meaning that regardless of what happens at this hearing today, that whether you're paroled or whether they expirate your sentence, you will be getting out at that date if there are no other offenses that end up falling under the board jurisdiction.
Entonces, básicamente, esto quiere decir que más allá de si recibes liberación condicional o no, en esa fecha, en junio del 2026, tú vas a ser liberado a menos que tengas otros cargos que se puedan presentar en tu contra.
My biggest concern, sir, is that you are a repeat offender.
La situación contigo es que eres eres recurrente en este tipo de actividades.
So convince me how you would be safe moving forward in the community so that something like this doesn't happen in the future.
Entonces, ¿cómo me convencerías a mí de que tú no presentas un riesgo a la comunidad, no presentarías un riesgo en la comunidad en el futuro y que este tipo de incidentes no se repetirían?
Siendo honesto conmigo mismo y respetando a las personas que me rodean, y la verdad, yo ya toqué fondo, ya no voy a tomar droga, no voy a hacer cerveza ni tomar drogas, nada que sea malo para mí, porque yo sé que si no lo hago, no soy una mejor persona.
Basically, I've hit bottom. And I need to be honest with myself, and I need to not indulge in alcohol or drugs or any other substances that can take me down this path. I've learned my lesson.
Have alcohol and drugs been a contributor in the past and with your current offenses?
El alcohol y las drogas han sido un factor determinante en las anteriores situaciones que estas situaciones se han presentado.
Sí.
What is your drug of choice, sir?
¿Cuál es tu droga de preferencia?
El cristal.
Crystal.
How long have you had an issue with crystal meth?
¿Y hace cuánto tiempo tienes este tipo de afición por el crystal, por el cristal?
Lo usaba nomás cuando estaba tomando, no era muy constante, era a lo mejor una o dos veces por mes.
I didn't use it constantly. I would use it sometimes when I was drinking. That'd be once or twice a month.
Tell me what your drinking habits are, sir.
Y cuéntame sobre tus hábitos de bebida.
Igual, porque lo que me causaba agarrar el cristal era la cerveza. Igual,
So-
dos veces.
It's when I started drinking beer that I would rely on the crystal meth. So the beer was the catalyst.
So was it every time you drank beer, you use methamphetamine?
Entonces, cuando comenzabas a tomar cerveza, comenzabas a usar cristales.
Sí.
Yes.
What usually caused you to drink, sir?
¿Qué es lo que normalmente te llevaba a consumir bebida?
A veces era el estar solo o las malas compañías que tenía.
Sometimes being alone and sometimes just being with the wrong crowd.
What's going to keep you from using in the future?
¿Y qué es lo que va a prevenir o evitar que utilices nuevamente en el futuro?
Mi familia y respetarme a mí mismo también, porque ya no soy jovencito y estoy enfermo del diabetes también y tengo que apreciar mi vida.
My family, and also respecting myself because I'm not a young kid anymore, and I'm up there in years. I have diabetes and I have to respect my life.
Okay. What do you feel like you've learned in programming that's going to help you moving forward with the sex offender specific programming, sir?
¿Qué es lo que crees que es lo que te ha ayudado en el programa para quienes cometen ofensas sexuales? ¿Qué es lo que más te ha ayudado y qué es lo que te puede aportar para seguir adelante?
El respetar a las personas y más a las mujeres porque no son objetos sexuales. Yo también tengo madre y tengo hijas.
The fact that I need to respect people, and particularly women. I mean, I also have a mother and I have daughters, and I just need to be respectful of women.
Do you have any mental health conditions, sir?
¿Tienes alguna condición mental?
No, no that I know. Oh,
Are you on any medications? Is he taking any medications?
¿Estás tomando algún medicamento?
nomás de insulina y una pastilla ¿cómo se llaman? Para los nervios de mis pies.
Just taking insulin, and I'm also taking a medication for the nerves of my feet.
Okay. Is there anything that you feel that would prevent you from being able to complete a parole successfully?
¿Hay algo que tú crees que puede evitar que tú puedas completar tu libertad bajo fianza de forma?
No,
Okay. Tell me about your substance abuse that you received for disciplinary in October of 2023.
Sobre la acción disciplinaria que recibiste por el abuso de sustancias en octubre del 2020.
Said you refused a UA.
De que rechazaste un control.
ok. Lo rechacé porque la verdad yo quería hacer del baño y al mismo tiempo que quería hacer del baño se me estaba saliendo la otra, quería ir a usar el baño pues del toilet.
Because when they wanted me to take the UA, I was also having the need to go to the toilet. Apparently,
Sir, if you were to be paroled, what would that look like for you? Where would you go?
si tuvieses libertad bajo fianza, ¿qué harías? ¿Dónde irías?
Con mi esposa y mis niños.
Wife and my children.
Say that one more time.
With my wife and my children.
How old are your children?
¿Qué edad tienen tus hijos?
El más pequeño tiene 9 años, acaba de cumplir 9 años del 27 de este mes.
The youngest just turned 9 on the 27th of this month.
So you wouldn't be able to be around your children because you'll have sex offender A conditions, which would prevent you from being able to be around any children,
Entonces,
including your own.
por las condiciones que tienes, por lo que has recibido, tú no vas a poder estar cerca de tus hijos, aunque sean tus hijos, no vas a poder estar cerca de ellos.
Ok, si es así, entonces tengo la dirección de mi papá, que es la 2657 Monroe Boulevard.
If that's the case, then I can go and live at my father's house, which is at 2670 Monroe Boulevard. ¿Cuál es?
I don't need an address.
Okay.
Yeah, just need to know who. As far as programming, there will be aftercare programming if you are paroled for sex offender treatment. Are you willing to comply with that and go to programming?
Hay programas para que estés, después de que estés liberado, para que puedas continuar con el tema del tratamiento de las ofensas sexuales. ¿Estarías dispuesto a continuar con esos tratamientos?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you have work lined up or anything?
¿Tienes algún tipo de trabajo alineado o algo?
Cuando me metí a la cárcel, que fui primero al county, estaba hablando con un don y me dijo que cuando saliera tenía el trabajo listo, que nomás arreglara mis problemas y tenía trabajo para atrás con él.
So before I was detained, I was talking to a gentleman who had assured me that once I got my problem taken care of, I would have a job available / lined up with him.
What do you do?
¿Y qué es lo que haces?
Concrete finisher. Construcción.
Construction finisher.
Is it concrete finisher?
Yeah.
Okay, we do have a victim representative that logged in. From my understanding, the mother of the victim in your case, for your current committing of case. Ma'am, would you please state your name for the record?
Jasmine Varble.
Just so you know, we do have an interpreter. I'm going to place you under oath, but as you're giving your statement, if you could pause so that he could interpret for us, just keep that in mind. If you would
Okay.
raise your right hand for me, I can't see you, so I'm just going to trust that you are raising your right hand for me. Do
Yeah.
you swear and affirm the information you're about to provide is accurate and true, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. What would you like me to know?
With him being a repeat offender, I don't feel safe with him being out, especially if he's going to be near my home. We also live on 26th and Monroe.
Right next door.
Um,
We actually live right next door to his parents, and it wasn't his roof that he was on. It was our roof.
it was my daughter's roof that
Okay.
he was on. Before he did that, in the police report, he was also at my window trying to get in. I have his fingerprints all over the window. Yeah, we just don't feel safe. I still have anxiety, like even just being here from it.
And not only
Sure.
that,
My kids have barely been able to sleep in their own rooms this year. And
Okay,
yeah,
give
we're
us,
just-
hold on really quick.
Yeah.
Is the dad the other person that's speaking?
yes.
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna place you under oath then really quick as well, if that's okay. Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Nazareth Isaiah Flores.
Do you swear and affirm the information you're about to give is truthful and accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm gonna have the interpreter kind of catch up the offender. Sorry, if there's anything you want them to repeat, just let me know.
Okay.
Bueno, señor García, está aquí la señora Jasmine Barbo y esposo, quienes indican de que no se sienten cómodos con el hecho de que usted pueda estar siendo liberado bajo fianza. Ellos viven ahí al lado en 26 Monroe, y como usted tiene una serie de, digamos, acusaciones repetidas sobre este tema del abuso sexual, ellos tienen mucha reserva de que usted sea liberado, y particularmente el hecho de que la casa de su padre es al lado de la casa de ellos, que es donde se suscitaron estas incidencias de los abusos sexuales.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead and continue, you guys.
And we're supposed to see a judge in about a week or two to get a protective order. So even if he does try to parole at his parents' house, he won't be able to.
Okay.
So I
Any-
render that.
And not only that, I'm working with immigration to get him deported as well.
Okay.
Should I go and render that?
Yeah.
Ok, señor García, bueno, comunican los señores de que están comunicándose con un juez para que tengan una orden de alejamiento de su persona por estos incidentes que se han dado, y también están contactándose para que usted pueda ser deportado. Están contactándose con inmigración.
Okay, you guys, is there anything else you would like me to know?
Just that he was on his own roof, that he was on my roof staring in my daughter's bedroom window, and that we live right next door to his parents. So if he tries to at least to parole to his parents' house, there's going to be consequences.
Bueno, básicamente le está aclarando de que usted no estaba en el techo del vecino, usted estaba en el techo de la casa de ellos mirando al dormitorio de la niña de ellos, y que si usted trata de conseguir su orden de fianza para que pueda vivir con sus padres, va a haber consecuencias y va a haber problemas, porque ellos ya lo están peleando eso.
Okay, anything else, you guys?
No, that's it. We don't feel safe with him.
We
out
just
at
don't
all.
feel safe with him out, and we believe that he will offend again. He has offended before. He is a known sex offender, so there's no place in a rule for those types of people.
Básicamente ellos explican de que ellos no van a apoyar de ninguna manera que usted pueda ser liberado, porque usted ya es un repitente en estas ofensas sexuales, y que simplemente la verdad es que usted no debería ser puesto bajo fianza bajo ninguna condición, y se tendría que pelear en contra de eso.
Thank you. Sir, what would you like me to know?
Señor García, ¿qué es lo que usted quisiera que yo sepa?
Pues, la verdad que me duele mucho escuchar eso y estoy muy arrepentido y yo pienso que me merezco otra oportunidad para demostrarle a la gente que yo he cambiado.
Said hurts me because I think that I deserve an opportunity to show the people that I have changed.
Okay. Tell me what your purpose was in trying to get into the homes. What were you planning?
¿Cuál era tu propósito cuando estabas tratando de entrarte a la casa? ¿Qué es lo que estabas planeando hacer?
La verdad andaba drogado y yo la verdad no tenía intención de lastimar a nadie.
I'm not, because I was on drugs, but I didn't have the intention of hurting anybody.
Okay. Sir, is there anything else you feel like the board needs to know or you would like the board to know at this point?
¿Hay algo más que usted quisiera comunicar a la Junta o cree que es importante que la Junta sepa antes de cerrar esta reunión?
No, pues nomás me gustaría que me dieran la oportunidad de salir para ayudarle a mi esposa con mis niños, a criarlos y pues, a llevarles comida o algo. La verdad, pero pues, ya lo que decidan, yo acepto lo que me pongan a hacer.
Would just like to be able to help my wife with the kids, taking them food or whatever not, but I will subscribe to whatever it is that I am demanded to do and I will do it.
Okay. What I plan on doing is taking the information we discussed today, compiling that into a report and submitting that to the board.
De las notas que he tomado el día de hoy, voy a estar preparando un informe que voy a hacérselo llegar a la Junta.
The board is made up of 5 members. It takes a majority vote for them to make a decision in your case.
Y la Junta toma una mayoría de ellos para tomar una decisión sobre el caso.
Usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks for them to get that decision out to you.
Y demoran unas 2 a 4 semanas hacerte llegar esa información.
You do have a guideline of 43 months, which puts you at January 14th, 2025.
Y si tienes una
Sorry, you cut out on that last part.
Tienes una guía de liberación que es para el 14 de junio del 2026, son 42 meses.
That guideline is what is just a guideline. They can go below that, on that, or past that, depending on if they feel that it's necessary to keep you longer.
Y esa guía es solamente una guía, puede ser menos tiempo, puede ser más tiempo, dependiendo de cómo ellos perciban cómo está el estatus de cómo tú te estás comportando.
Regardless of what their decision is, as a result of this hearing, you have an expiration date of 5 years, which puts you at June 14th, 2026.
Y más allá de esa guía, tú tienes una fecha de liberación que es para el 14 de junio del 2026, que es en 5 años.
That is the length of time the board will have jurisdiction over your case, given there are no other further offenses.
Ese es el tiempo que la Junta tiene jurisdicción sobre tu caso, siempre y cuando no haya otras ofensas.
Meaning that if you were to parole before then, or if you weren't to parole before then, regardless, that 2026 date, you will eventually get out of prison.
O sea, lo cual quiere decir que más allá de otras circunstancias, para el 14 de junio del 2026 tú estarías saliendo de la cárcel.
The board will take into consideration the programming that you have completed since you've been here.
Y la Junta va a tomar en consideración los programas que ha estado tomando mientras ha estado detenido.
I thank everybody for participating in this hearing. If there are no other further questions, sir, I will go ahead and conclude.
Gracias por su tiempo. Si no hay algún otro asunto a tratar, estaría dando la conclusión a esta Junta.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thanks.
Right.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is there any way to, like, I could write to the parole board and send them like the police report and stuff like that,
Right to the parole board and what?
and send them the police report and the
We
pictures
have
and
the
stuff?
police report.
Do you guys have all the pictures as well?
We have everything that was submitted from the courts and everything else, but
Okay.
it's not going to change the expiration date in this case. The reason I
don't-
emphasize that expiration date, that's what we're bound by, that the courts ordered him to complete when the court was done with his case. Does that make
And
sense?
then if he gets out after the 2026, will he be able to go to his parents' house? Or no?
If you've got a protective order, that's through the courts, so that'll be up to the courts and how that, all that works out. But he won't be able to have contact with any children or clearly the victims in the case. You are more than welcome also to write or contact the board at any time. We do have a victim advocate that you can contact with the board and talk with them as well. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. That's fine. You can go ahead and interpret that.
Señor preguntaba si es que hay forma de que él puede hacer llegar más documentos directamente a la corte o a la junta. Y la señora le explicaba de que sí, efectivamente, él puede escribir directamente. Hay una abogacía para el caso de las víctimas y que sí, él tiene la libertad de escribir a la corte y para aportar con cualquier documentación o solicitud o requerimiento pertinente referente al caso en el cual usted está involucrado.
Okay, with that, we will go ahead and conclude. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, gracias. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
How are you today, ma'am?
Good, how are you? This is the time and place set for a rescission hearing for Desmond Raider, inmate 243562. Is that you, sir?
Correct.
I'm Kathleen. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole. I'll be conducting your hearing today because I'll be taking testimony from you. I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me so I can place you under oath. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So did you receive 7 days notice of this hearing along with your blue packet?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a chance to review that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions on it?
No.
Okay, so you do have a pending case for a third-degree felony assault by prisoner as well as a Class B misdemeanor riot in case 241912994. Looks like your next court date for that is January 14th, 2025. Is that accurate?
Correct.
With that, what will happen with your case is this case will then be put on a paper review within like a 30 or 60-day paper review so that they can track that. If your case gets resolved with the courts prior to that review, you're more than welcome to write in or have an attorney write in saying that this has been resolved so that we can get you back on our calendar sooner rather than later. They don't like us to talk to you about the current charge that you are facing, just in case there's a chance that you could come back under our jurisdiction for that. Plus, this is all recorded. So your attorney probably wouldn't appreciate you talking about the situation as well. Do you have any questions for me?
So ma'am, I will get a pay-per-view once I get this adjudicated, right?
What I'll do is set up for paper review is basically just to keep track of it so that it doesn't get lost. So the paper review, there's a group of people that will monitor your case. Once it's been taken care of in the courts, then they'll go ahead and set this for another hearing. So then you can come back before us and then we can move forward with your case and make a decision. So this will basically your case is on hold. So they'll affirm your rescission of your September 2nd, 2025 parole date based on that pending charge for the disciplinary you received. And then once that's taken care of, you'll come back and then basically they'll make plans for future at that time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I said if it gets, with it being in January, if it does get resolved at that court date, you can write the board and just say, hey, just so you know, my court case has been resolved. So, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, we'll go ahead and conclude this hearing. Whole point of this hearing is basically discuss why your date was rescinded, which you're well aware of, and go over that stuff. And then we'll probably see you back here in a couple of months, okay?
Okay.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and conclude this hearing. Thank you. Good luck to you and have a good day.
Thank you.
hearing. I'm going to mess up your last name, so I'm going to have you state it for me for the record, okay?
THIEMANN.
Okay, Caleb, inmate 225803. Is that you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kathleen. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole. I'll be conducting your hearing today. Because I'll be taking testimony from you, I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me so I can place you under oath. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sir, did you receive 7 days' notice of this hearing along with your blue packet?
I did.
Do you have a chance to review that?
I did.
Do you have any questions on it?
No, ma'am.
So it looks like your date of November 5th, 2024 was rescinded due to a pending case 241-912-997, which resulted in a conviction of an assault by prisoner of third-degree felony, which you were given credit for time served, and then a riot Class B misdemeanor was dismissed. Is that accurate, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened in that case.
Um,
Well, in the incident.
So a couple of individuals that I associate with were involved in an altercation. People that they were involved in the altercation with had a couple weapons. So I acted on what I thought was justifiable. So I engaged and I regret it.
Now, I have on here, this was a gang fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a member of a gang?
ma'am.
What gang are you involved in?
I'm a surrender.
Okay. What were the circumstances? What caused the fight? Do you know in general?
I don't know. All I know is it went off, it exploded, and a couple people had weapons. And I felt that my actions would have been justified considering that they had weapons, and
What was the other gang?
I'm not sure.
Excuse me. Are you an active gang member?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do show that you also have a September 20th, 2024 pending forgery, fraud, theft, insufficient funds. I'm not going to talk to you about that because it is pending, but just so you are aware, they will look at that. Tell me about some of the stuff that keeps getting you into trouble while you're here. Since August of 2023, you've had a total of 7 disciplinaries, which includes that one pending that's current.
Yes, ma'am. So really, I was just being a knucklehead. There's no excuse for my actions. And I take full responsibility for them.
Is a lot of the reason you're getting into trouble gang involvement?
No,
Like, is it influenced by that, I guess you could say?
no. Some of it, yes, some of it, no.
Okay.
Some of it was due to me being an addict,
Okay.
Some of it was just me being a knucklehead.
Tell me about your other fight in February of this last year.
Me and an individual had a disagreement.
It was just one-on-one.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it gang related?
No.
Okay. What was the disagreement?
It's just, I'd rather not talk about it, honestly, but, he had said something to me, and in prison, some of those things you don't say to people.
So it was basically a verbal thing that escalated.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I also do want to acknowledge the fact that you do have support here. Forgot to mention that at the beginning. We just ask that you remain quiet during this time. They'll give you a couple minutes at the end to talk a little bit. This hearing's not going to be very long because it's basically just to discuss kind of what was going on at the time. Moving forward, I see that you only have had that other one pending disciplinary since. So tell me what's been going on since since June to now, where you haven't had, where it seems like you've stayed out of trouble, but I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. So I decided my family's more important.
Okay.
I'm trying to go home to my wife and kids.
How many kids you got?
I got 4.
Do you feel like overall for you, if anything has changed? I know you mentioned this family thing. Anything else that you feel like has changed for you moving forward so that you don't end up back here?
I feel like I've changed.
Okay, in what way?
I'm not as strong-headed as I was.
Okay,
I think things more clearly now are through. Um, just, I've realized a lot being locked up. That my kids have missed out on a lot.
Okay.
I put my wife and my kids through hell.
okay.
I don't want to do it no more.
How much of the gang influence is on the outs?
How much?
What usually causes you to get in trouble in the community that brings you back here?
A drug addict.
Okay. What do you think's gonna help you as far as the addiction goes?
So I've asked to be placed on stabilization.
Okay,
That was approved for November 5th as well. That was approved. Stabilization and MAT treatment, medically assisted treatment. That way I'm not continuously relapsing.
okay. So are you planning on going to a halfway house then
Yes, ma'am.
for a while? Do you have work or anything lined up? Is
I do.
work, okay? What do you plan on doing?
Job, the owner of the company has made it very clear that I still have my job when I get out.
What do you do?
I'm a forklift operator.
Okay. Um, what is your ultimate goal?
Be a
For
father to my
release.
kids,
Say that again.
be a father to my kids,
Okay.
husband to my wife.
What usually causes you to relapse?
Stress.
Okay,
I've known it. Known drugs for almost all my life.
okay.
Started using when I was 11 years old.
How'd you get involved in it?
My dad,
Okay,
I didn't care.
so is it generational addiction?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, is there anything else you'd like the board to know at this point?
Just that I accept full responsibility for my actions.
Okay,
I now know that my actions were not. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have acted the way I did. I shouldn't have reacted.
okay,
It's cost me more time away from my wife and kids. It's cost me more time in here. You know,
for sure.
I don't want to be here.
Okay. Is there anything you feel like would prevent you from being able to have a successful parole?
No, I'm trying to do my best.
Okay,
You know what I mean? I was out for a year before I came back.
okay,
I was doing pretty good.
okay,
Then just stress got to me.
okay.
I don't know. I have a lot of. I have a hard time dealing with it.
Okay.
I don't know what.
Have you been working to figure that out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any mental health conditions, sir?
I do.
What are they?
I have ADHD, ADD. I got PTSD for sure.
Mhm.
I'm on bipolar. Yeah.
You're on meds?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel like they help?
They help a lot.
Do you feel like do you plan on taking them when you're in the community then?
Yes, ma'am.
If there's any restitution owing in your cases, are you willing to pay that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What I plan on doing is taking the information we discussed today, compiling that into a report and submitting that to the board. Go ahead and affirm that rescission date of November 5th, 2024. It'll be up to the board, as you're well aware, on what they plan on doing moving forward. If they give you another parole date, want you to complete something prior to leaving here or whatever. You do have that 20-year top, which is May 21st, 2036. That is the length of time the board will have jurisdiction of your case, given there are no other further offenses, which you're well aware. Is there anything else you'd like me to know, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and conclude this hearing. Thank you. Good luck to you and have a good day.
Thank you.
This is the time and place set for a original hearing for Jackie Humes, inmate 187678. Is that you, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kathleen. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole. I'll be conducting your hearing today. Because I'll be taking testimony from you, I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me so I can place you under oath. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. Sir, did you receive 7 days' notice of this hearing along with your blue packet?
Yes.
You have a chance to review that?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on it?
No.
Do you not have a chair in there?
Oh, I do.
Okay, you're just gonna
Sit
stand?
down,
You can do either one.
I sit down and kind of like just gets my head like right here.
Okay.
So,
That's totally fine. What I plan on doing is going over your current committing offenses, and then we'll see what you've been up to since you've been here, okay?
okay.
In case 191402750, you were convicted of a second-degree felony, entice a minor by internet or text, and a third-degree felony dealing in materials harmful to minor defendant 18 and or older. Excuse me. This occurred around May 15th, 2019 to May 17th, 2019, where it appears you were engaging with what you assumed was a 13-year-old girl over the internet, sending pictures and videos of your penis on several occasions. Is that accurate, sir?
Yes.
Anything you wanted to add to that?
No, ma'am.
All right, and I also show on here that you are currently in sex offender programming, that it looks like you're probably going to complete that at the end of January. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's what I am scheduled. Me and my group are scheduled maybe at the end of January, beginning of February.
Okay. The last time I received something was a sex offender treatment discharge summary, not discharge summary, I'm sorry. A sex offender treatment summary, dated October 22nd, 2024. Did you get a copy of that, sir?
Uh,
It was a while ago.
I don't think so. I might. I got a lot of paperwork, so.
That's the last. Did anybody go over? I'm assuming somebody went over this with you, your therapist. Basically, it talks about what you're doing while you're in the programming, the risk that you have, the average risk, and the recommendations. At this point, the recommendation is for you to complete the core program, which you're almost completed with. And then I got an email on the 31st stating that you would more than likely be completing the end of January, beginning of February. So that's pretty much what that treatment summary was.
Now that you mentioned, I think I actually did go over that.
More than likely you did. And it was a while ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if you don't remember that. Plus, when you get your blue packet, you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to go over everything in your blue packet though?
Yeah, when I got the blue packet it was not really that much in it, but I
Yeah.
read over everything in it, so.
Okay. Tell me what you've learned so far in the program that's going to help you moving forward, sir.
Basically, the main thing, it's something that I've always struggled with, was asking for help. when I'm
Okay.
struggling with someone, but now since I've been in the program, well, because beforehand I thought it was like a sign of weakness, but what I've learned is it's not a sign of weakness. It is okay to ask for help when I'm struggling, to use and take advantage of my support system, because I can't do anything on my own like I used to think so. So
Okay.
I've learned just to ask for help and don't worry about being judged or whatever, because everybody needs help.
What led you to this offense in the first place?
Pretty much I was in a long-term relationship. I got out of it, and the way that it ended was not, let's just say it ended pretty badly, and I just didn't deal with the way it ended in a healthy manner. And I was just not in the right state of mind, and I was just basically looking for, how would I put it? Pretty much like connection and like attention from somebody at that point in time. And where I thought I could have got it in decided to was on a chat site, and come to find out ended up to be a 13-year-old girl.
How many times has this happened before?
It was just this one time.
What made you get involved with the 13-year-old girl? Like, what made you think that it was okay to continue that conversation, sending pictures, things like that?
Honestly, I wasn't really thinking right at the time. I was just thinking for like that instant gratification, the feeling of somebody giving me the attention at that time and just talking to me and basically hearing me out on like what I was going through and like what was on my mind and everything. So pretty much just the attention.
Okay. Do you have any mental health diagnoses, sir?
No, man.
Tell me a little bit about your substance use history.
Yeah. When I was younger, I started off smoking weed, and then that led to, well, drinking too, but then that led to me smoking methamphetamines. And then that's pretty much like all my drug history is just those three substances.
When's the last time you used methamphetamine?
That'd be like, well, plus the 3 years that I've been in prison, like close to 13 years now.
Okay, so what got you clean 13 years ago? Because it sounds like you were clean for about 10 years prior to coming here. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that got me clean, before I even, I had my daughter, well, basically the main one was my daughter, but I didn't want her growing up and asking like, where's my dad at? And somebody telling her, I don't know, he's out there getting high, doing something. Instead, I wanted her to be like, where's my dad at? He's right there, go get him.
Okay.
So I just didn't want to raise her up around that type of life. And it was just time for me to grow up because that was just not a life I wanted to live anymore.
Okay. Were you tempted to relapse at any time during the relationship issues?
No.
Okay. How's your physical health, sir? Do you feel like there's anything that would prevent you from being able to have a successful parole?
No, ma'am.
I see that you've completed a few different things since you've been here, to include you're getting ready to complete the sex offender program. I see that you've completed a impact of crime, keys to loving relationship. That was back in 2022, 24/7 dad. Is there anything else that you feel like that you've completed that's helped to kind of moving forward to help you change your thought process or improve on skills?
Yes, there's been actually a lot of life skills classes and everything that we do in the program, but there wasn't enough like room on the packet to fill it out. But there's been like thinking errors, there's been, like you said, the impact of crime, there's been anger management, there's been right now we're doing real families, real answers.
Okay.
And I was in here and I did a class, I don't know if you've heard about it, Inside Out Dad.
Yeah, I've got that listed here too.
I did that one, and then right after this, Real Families, Real Answers, so one of the leaders plans on doing, what was it? What is the life skill? There's so many, like,
That's fine. How have they helped you moving forward, sir?
oh,
So that when you do get out, this doesn't end up happening again.
they've helped me out like so much to the point where there's things that I can catch and realize now before, like, thought stopping, like if I get into that thought, like have negative thoughts about things, like maybe like, just for example, like let's say I had a bad thought, like, hey, look, nobody will find out, I can just do it this one time. Instead, I can stop, like, whoa, what am I doing? Like, if I'm having these thoughts, that means I'm starting to struggle. I could relapse, so maybe I should go talk to somebody.
Okay.
Like, even if I can't get a hold of somebody on the phone, or go talk to somebody. Not just try to get them on the phone or anything, like actually go to somebody face to face and be like, hey, you got a minute? I'm kind of need to talk to you about something.
Okay. I do see you have a disciplinary from July 2022. Looks like probably when you first got here, roughly, yes?
Yeah, I think that was it when I was in Gunnison.
The tattoo, branding, and body piercing. Were you giving or getting a tattoo?
I was getting it.
What did you get?
It was, it says Devil Boy right here on my hands. I don't know if you can see it, but
Okay. What is that for?
it's just a nickname of mine.
Okay. Are
Yeah.
you involved in any gangs, sir?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever been?
No.
If you are paroled, what are your plans?
My plans are to go back to what I was doing, back to my old job, UPS. Because when I was working there, I actually went and talked to my boss and told him like, look, I'm not gonna be able to come in anymore. I just went to court and I did get sentenced to prison. I just wanted to let you know that, so you didn't think like I just up and quit and just left. He's like, well, thank you for that, but when you do get out, come back. Maybe there's still be a chance for you to get your job back. I was like, all right,
Okay.
cool. I was like, that might be a long time, but I was like, but I'll do that. But if that doesn't work out, I do have like other jobs lined up. Cause I have worked at Interstate Brick. My stepdad's worked there for a long time. He's about to retire, but I
What
have
is it?
worked there before. Interstate Brick.
Okay.
Yeah, the brickyard. And one of my cousins, he has his own like, I do believe he does landscaping.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually clarify with him and make sure that it's, commercial landscaping. Because what I found out is that, because the sex offense, I won't be able to do landscaping like residential areas or whatnot, but I did find out that I can do, commercial landscaping, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So
and
it sounds like, it doesn't sound like you have problems getting work.
No,
Okay. As far as programming, there's usually aftercare that goes with this stuff. Are you willing to and planning to get involved in aftercare?
yes, there is, ma'am. Actually, I was just talking to somebody in there about that, because they're like, so what are you gonna do about like aftercare? I was like, look, here's the thing, I've been trying, because when I was in Gunnison, there was a therapist that I was talking to, somebody else gave me his information. I started talking to him for a little bit and he seemed pretty cool, like I opened up to him and everything like that, I still have his information, I gave it to my mom to where she could try to get a hold of him, because I'm getting close to getting out. I was trying to
Yeah.
get her to reach out to him to see if he'd be willing to take me back on as a client. And anything, I could do that too when I get out, because I believe the way that we was talking and communicating when I was in Gunnison, he seems like somebody I can open up to, and he can help me be successful in aftercare.
Okay. And then as far as a place to live, what are you thinking?
Well, I did want to go back to my original house, but I'm not really quite sure how that'll go, because my daughter lives there and they're like my sisters, my brothers. We got a lot of kids at the house. My family's pretty big, but
Yeah, so you'll have sex offender A conditions, so you won't be able to be around kids. When
yeah,
it comes to your daughter, you'll probably have to work through therapy, things like that, in order to be able to have contact with her and APMP as well,
yeah,
regarding all of that as well.
yeah. And then I have another address. I call her my sister-in-law. I've known her for so long. She's my daughter's mother's sister, so.
Okay,
But yeah, I asked her, communicated with her about this for a while now, and I was like, well, would it be okay if I did use your address to come, if I needed to parole to? She's like, yeah, that's fine. And that's another place that I could actually go and work for too, with her,
Okay.
because she works, and I was like, well, if there's a way I could come and work with you. She's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, hey, that'll work, because
what does that work?
she works at Toyota. I do believe, like, when people's cars need work, or like, if they
Like
can't start or
mechanics?
whatever, yeah, she goes and picks them up on a flatbed. So I'll just be basically riding along with her, helping her hook the cars up, and then basically pulling it up onto the flatbed.
Okay,
because she's always been a big support in my, in my life. And she's never really like sugarcoated anything with me. She'll basically let me know, like, look, bro, you're screwing up. Like,
okay. Is there anything else you would like the board to know or feel like the board needs to know at this point?
no, ma'am, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Okay. What I plan on doing then is planning on taking all the information we discussed today, compiling that into a report and submitting that to the board. The board is made of 5 members. It takes a majority vote for them to make a decision in your case. It usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks for them to get that decision out to you. You do have a 43-month guideline, which puts you at September 3rd, 2025. That guideline is what it is. It's just a guideline, meaning they can go below that, on that, or past that, depending on if they want to see you complete something else or feel like they need that you need to stay here longer. They will take into consideration everything you have completed up to this point as well when making a decision in your case. You do have a 15-year top, which puts you at February 3rd, 2037. That is the length of time the board will have jurisdiction over your case, given there are no other further offenses. Do you have any other questions for me, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and conclude this hearing. Thank you. Good luck to you and have a good day.
All right, thank you.
That's all.
Sergeant Scott, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go on the record.
Okay.
Good morning. This is a time and place set for a parole hearing for Stephen Holberg. This is your original hearing. Is your offender number 246207?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. My name is Melissa Stapley. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today. I'm going to be taking testimony from you, so before we start, I do need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Sir, did you receive at least 7 days written notice of this hearing?
You mean the blue packet?
Yes, it would have come with that blue packet.
Yes, ma'am, I
Okay. In that blue packet, did you receive a copy of your sex offense treatment memo?
I believe, yes, I did.
Okay, and did you have a chance to go over that blue packet?
I looked at it, yes.
Okay, just so you know, everything in that blue packet is a copy of what the board is going to use along while making their decision. So do you have any questions, concerns, or corrections that you want to make from the information in that blue packet?
No, there is one letter that's in there that it's like 15 pages long. It's a handwritten letter that I want you and the board to realize that it was my first attempt to try to help myself.
Okay, so it was written by you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll note that. And then here's what's going to happen in this hearing today. So what I'm first going to do is review your offense. And then we're going to talk about what you've done since you've been back in prison. And if the board decides to grant you a release, what your plans would be on parole, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready to move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so it looks like you were committed in case number 191401451, attempted aggravated sexual abuse of a child, first-degree felony, and criminal solicitation, first-degree felony. On November 21st, 2019, you were sentenced 3 years to life times 2. Those 2 sentences were to run consecutive to each other. So the crime I'm just going to summarize it. On May 14th, 2019, you answered 2 ads on Craigslist placed by an ICAC undercover agent posing as a female going by the name of Karen. Karen discussed her 11-year-old daughter, telling you she was looking for someone to teach her daughter. You were told multiple times her daughter was 11 years old and in the 5th grade. You stated she was pretty young, but pursued the conversation. You agreed to meet up with payment for the 11-year-old to give you oral sex. You told Karen if the child did a good job and followed directions, you would pay her $60. During this time, you also spoke with another ICAC agent who was posing as the 11-year-old child. During that call, you discussed with the child her giving you oral sex, and you expressed wanting to touch her body all over. You met with Karen at a park in Provo. When you arrived, you met with that ICAC agent and was arrested. You had $60 in your pocket with a note attached stating, "I hope your dreams come true." During your interview with the agents, you admitted to sending the emails to Karen, discussing over the phone the arrangement to pay $60 for the child to give you oral sex. Is there anything I missed or anything that you'd like to clarify?
No, you pretty well got it.
Okay, so I just have some questions about this crime. Have you ever done this before?
No.
Okay, and what caused you to actually attempt to follow through with this by meeting the agent at the park?
Well, that's a long story, and it starts going back to my wife. There was many times at home with my wife that I now realize that she was pushing me away, and I wanted more out of her, and I wasn't getting it. And I now know that the avenue I took was wrong. But you know, there was times like we would be making the bed and I would want to play with her a little bit and she would push me away, or she'd be trying to get dressed and she would push me away. And even in the kitchen when she's doing something at the kitchen sink, and I would again be pushed away. And I wanted more out of her. I wanted the attention from her and I wasn't getting it. So pornography was where I went, and one thing led to another. And I answered the ad on Craigslist for this Karen woman.
Okay, so I did look at your institutional progress report, the packet that you filled out prior to this hearing. And you did comment about the same thing, that you were in a dark place. Your wife wouldn't have anything to do with you. You went outside the marriage seeking adult women, but that eventually didn't seem to be enough. So so I'm curious, what caused that jump from being with an adult female to justifying potentially getting oral sex from an 11-year-old?
Well, I really don't have a straight answer for that, except for I wanted more. And it's hard to find a woman, you know, like in a bar or a park or wherever, you know, that I could be with. And I found this ad on Craigslist. So I thought, well, I'll give this a try.
Okay, I'm just writing down what you said, so bear with me.
Yeah. Looking back, you know, I am ashamed, and I wish I wouldn't have done these things.
Okay, so the question went out of my head. Bear with me here. Let me find it. Okay, so the next question I had about this offense, of course, there weren't any actual victims.
Right.
Luckily, it was agents. But if it really was an 11-year-old and you did meet up with the mother, were you putting any thought into the long-term damage you could have done to that child? Did that occur to you at all?
Honestly, no, it didn't. It should have, because I have 2 daughters, but it didn't. My daughters are grown now, and one of them's 30 and one of them is 26. I should have thought about it, but I didn't.
Okay. Now I'm going to go over this sex offender treatment memo that you received. It looks like it was completed on January 10th of last year. The recommendation was addressing current risk, evidence-based assessments, place Mr. Holmberg in the low risk range for reoffense. As a result, Mr. Holmberg's not recommended for treatment while incarcerated, as his level of risk is identified. Risk and identified treatment needs would be more appropriately addressed in a community setting. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so if the board, which they will, order sex offender treatment, are you willing to participate in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you talking like aftercare?
No, I'm talking about sex offender treatment if you're given a parole
Oh,
in the community.
yeah. I know that as aftercare. I'm sorry.
No,
Yes.
it's okay. Aftercare usually occurs after you complete sex offender treatment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No,
Yes.
that's okay. So you're okay participating in that? You'd be willing to do it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at what you've done since you've been back in custody. I have in 2020, you completed MRT and victim impact, 2022 life skills, thinking errors, alcohol, drug education, 2023 life skills, impact of crime, and Kane County Substance Abuse Treatment Program, which Department of Corrections submitted you for a time cut on completion of substance abuse treatment. The board acknowledged it. I do want to let you know that part of the board's decision after this hearing will include them considering that time cut in regards to completing that program, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so since you have taken substance abuse treatment, what was your drug of choice?
I really didn't have one. I haven't done drugs at all in my life. So if I have to pick one, I would have to say, I've done some drinking, but nothing that was hard.
Okay, I saw in your IPR you noted you drank beer for like since you were 18, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had beer, but and I've had a few mixed drinks, but I've never really been out on a binge or been an alcoholic.
Okay, so do you think that alcohol is going to be an issue if you're released?
No, not at all.
Okay, and so out of taking the MRT, victim impact, all of these other classes, what have you learned that you didn't consider before that may be helpful if you're released?
The ability to listen and find out what's wrong in myself. You know, using my wife as an example, there was many times that I didn't listen to her. And I think that may have been the beginning of the downfall with my marriage and going down this dark road. I'm almost at a loss as to why I did this. You know, I do know that since coming in, you know, I have found the Lord, and my two brothers that I talk to on the phone every week and every month, they encourage me, and they are also with the Lord. The brother that's in Michigan is my biggest support, and he has jumped in and he's helped me not only financially, but he flew here from Michigan and picked up my personal items and took them back to Michigan with him. I hope to do an interstate compact. But the biggest thing I've learned is taking into consideration of other people, not my whims, not my wants, but what do other people need and what do the other people want.
Okay. And I know when you told me about this crime and you brought it up again, your wife, how much blame are you putting on her for this?
I don't know, maybe 50%. I never thought about, you know, how much blame to put on her. I know she had something to do with my reacting. But I do not blame her for wanting a divorce and going through with the divorce. I don't blame her at all. I don't blame my children for disowning me, and I understand that too. And I do hope that someplace in the future I can reconnect with my kids.
Okay, so the reason I asked you that is that has come up, your now ex-wife, in what you wrote in your institutional report, what you've told me. And it is a little concerning because I don't think your wife told you to try to have oral sex with an 11-year-old.
No, she did
You
not.
see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And so I was just curious how much of the blame you're taking for ending up where you are. And
Well,
from what you've told me, it's half.
I do take full responsibility for what I've done. You know, there are things that my wife did during the marriage that I now realize that I wish she would have talked to me about. And that probably would have stopped a lot of these criminal actions. But I think that's kind of like looking in a hindsight, but I don't know. I don't know where she's at now. I don't talk to her at all. But I don't blame her for my actions.
Okay. So considering you've been sentenced to life ×2, they're running back to back. Why should the board grant you a release at this point?
The biggest reason is because of my connection with the Lord God. He saved me, is what he did. As I laid on the bed when I was still in Tooele County, you know, I asked him to come into my heart and clean out the trash, and he did. I don't know exactly what happened, but it felt like I was levitated off the bed. I know I got a warm, hot feeling in my chest that worked down past my heart and into my abdomen. And when it was over with, I was convinced that Jesus actually was a God that came to earth. And I immediately started reading the Bible and reading some of the excerpts that are in Peter and Paul, and reading a lot of the do's and don'ts about marriage. You know, her responsibility, his responsibility, and things like you know, man should not lay with man, and then incest. And I've gotten to the point that, you know, I really do have a fear of God now. I wake up in the morning wondering, who can I help today? I mean, I know I'm in the jail, and there's the help that I can give other people is kind of limited, but I still help where I can. And that's something that I want to do when I get out, is I want to be part of my brother's church, and I want to help those who I can. I have a mechanical ability in my past that I still have. And so to be able to help somebody financially to repair brakes or shocks or that type of thing, I can do for them. I've learned a lot with mechanical, and like replacing windshields. I can replace engines and transmissions, and all these things are very expensive for a lot of people. That is my biggest help. I also learned how to crochet while I was in here, and knowing how to crochet can be a big help. I've done a lot of crochet work for an ex-inmate named Johnny Gardner, who sends in yarn to have different projects made. And I've done a number of things for him, and I'm told that he gives them all to the hospital kids.
Mm-hmm.
I am deeply ashamed of my actions. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's talk about if the board decides to grant you a release. You mentioned that you want to do an interstate compact. From what I've gathered, just reading your paperwork and the letters that have come in, is that you plan to move to Michigan, live with your brother and his wife as they have an apartment on his property. Is that correct?
Yes, it's an attached to the backside of his house. It's what they call a mother-in-law apartment.
Okay. And then we received a letter stating that you have a job waiting at your niece's cleaning company. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, she's.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
She's 45 years old. She has 2 kids. They're both grown. And her little business is called Done Deal. And she does offices. I don't know if she does banks or not. I know she has a library that she cleans. She has a couple factories. And then she says every year she tries to do a couple hoarder houses. And she realizes that there's places I cannot go. Yeah, she knows this. She knows I cannot go into homes or a hoarder house. She knows that I would be restricted to offices and factories. She has helped a lot of inmates upon their getting release. I don't have a clue as to how many, but she has told me that she realizes that there's things that I can't do, and so she knows which direction I can go in.
So you're going to do the cleaning in the offices?
It would be offices and factories, break room,
Okay.
things like that.
All right. And then do you have any idea about where treatment would be available for you in Michigan for sex offender treatment?
I do have a vague idea. From where my brother lives, he says that the Board of Pardons is about 15, 20 minutes away. And it's my understanding that there's a facility right next door for the treatment.
Okay. And I did note that you've already paid the fee to apply for the interstate compact. You just are waiting for a date, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Since you've been in custody, have you had to work with mental health at all?
A little bit with the therapist, Guy. I don't know Guy's last name.
No, it's okay.
Only with Guy. I had CBI with a guy named Robert or Rob. So we went through CBI, and I had a couple sit downs with Guy with things that was going on. And I can't say he straightened me out. He gave me advice as what to do, and his advice helped me a lot.
Okay. Are you on any medication?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And if you were asked to rate your mental health at this point, what would you say it was?
I would say it's very good.
Okay. And do you have any physical issues that would get in the way of you completing parole successfully?
Physically? No, none.
Okay. All right. So, sir, that's about all I have. Is there anything else that you want to tell me to pass on to the board?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never had a problem finding work. And I do also at the same time with working with my niece, my brother's going to help me get my driver's license back, which means my CDL, so I can go back to driving truck.
And when you drove truck, was that local or interstate?
Well, when I first started, I was over the road, all over the place. And then that particular truck gave me a lot of problems. So I stopped going over the road and I took a job driving locally. So that way I would be home every night and I didn't have the responsibility of trying to keep the truck repaired. And that's what I want to do when I get to Michigan is nothing but local. That way I am home every night. I also know that there are many shifts for driving truck. Everything where you start from like 3 to 5 in the morning to starting at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And that I would have to put on hold until I got the therapy and the classes lined out first. And I understand. I look forward to being at home with my brother. He is my twin, and I want to spend as much time as I can with him before one of us passes away. Our father passed away when he was 71, and I am almost 66 now.
Okay, so just by an off chance, if Utah or Michigan decide to deny your interstate compact, which it does happen sometimes, what would you do if you had to stay in Utah?
I think I would spend probably the first year in a halfway house, and
Okay.
I'm not real sure where that's at. And I'd have to figure out how to get around because I don't have a car. So I'm thinking it would probably be by bus. To go, and that would take me down to Medicare and to the therapy offices. And I don't know where to go for registry of my offense in Michigan or Utah. And then I would continue to try and get my license back, so I have some ID, so maybe I can go back to driving truck locally.
Okay.
I guess a lot of it depends on where I'm at in Utah.
Right.
You know, I've spent the last 25 years in Moab, so Salt Lake City has changed a lot for me.
Yeah, it has. We have halfway houses in Weber, Salt Lake, and a new one in Utah County. So,
If
go ahead.
If I was to go to Utah County, my last job before coming in was with SUV, and that's Southern Utah Valley Waste Disposal, and that was in just outside of Springville. And I don't know if the board's got a letter of recommendation from SUV or not, but I did get a nice recommendation from him. So possibilities of going back to work for him are high.
I think I did see that in there. I'll double check and point that out to the board. So is there anything else that you need to tell me?
No, I tried to be patient and wait for this interview. I've got no write-ups. I've got no infractions. And it's in my hearing papers or someplace that I've been working a laundry job for almost 2 years.
Okay. So let me finish it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take everything we discussed here today, submit it to the board in form of a report. In the next 30 days, you'll find out from the board their decision. It'll come to you either through your caseworker or in inmate mail. At that time, if you are granted a release, the notification you receive from the board will include your release date along with any special conditions of parole. I advise you pay special attention to the conditions. If by some chance the board decides not to grant you a release, you'll receive that information as well. So at this time, do you have any questions for me?
What's your recommendation?
I do not tell people. We normally don't provide them. The reason is because if I told you I'm recommending you are released in 9 months and the board comes back with a different date, it creates a lot of confusion, not only for you, but if you have any family or friends watching. So we just stopped doing that because of the confusion. But I will submit it to the board. Go ahead.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'll submit it to the board and you should find out in the next few weeks what's going to happen, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. At this time, I am going to conclude the hearing and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Good morning. This is a time and place set for an original hearing for Raymond Barry, offender number 159430. Is that you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. My name is Melissa Stapley. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today. I'm going to be taking testimony from you, so before we start, I do need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Now, sir, did you receive at least 7 days written notice of today's hearing and a copy of your blue packet?
I did.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review that blue disclosure packet?
I have, I read it all.
Okay. Just so you know, everything in that blue packet is a copy of what the board uses when they're making their decision. So what's going to happen today is I'm going to review your commitment offense and ask you some questions about that, about what you've done since you've been back in prison, and if the board decides to grant you a release, what your release plans are. Are you ready to move forward?
I am.
Okay, do you have any questions at this point?
I don't have any questions.
All right. So I'm just going to summarize what happened in this commitment. Your 15-year-old daughter reported to her therapist that you had molested her from ages 7 to 12 years old. DCFS was contacted and a forensic interview was completed. During the interview, the victim reported you sexually abusing her from the time she was 7 years old until around 12 or 13 years of age. She also reported that you took nude photos of her when she was 7 years old while you were living in California. A detective met with you, you denied the allegations, and at that point, St. George PD placed you under arrest. Is there anything that you want to add or clarify about that summary I just read to you?
No, ma'am, that's accurate.
Okay. What do you want to tell me about these crimes?
First off, I want to say that I'm remorseful for what I did, and a day doesn't go by where I don't think about what I did to her and how it's affected her. And I know sorry doesn't help, it doesn't change things, but I'm truly sorry in the bottom of my heart, and I wish I could take back what I did. I'm doing the program. Program's been very helpful to me. It's helped me find new ways to cope with life's problems. It's helped me to feel and understand empathy, not just for her, but for everybody. So I think the program's really good. And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Right now.
Now, is this the first time you did something like this?
I did, back in 2003, I tried to meet up with a 13-year-old girl on the internet, and it turned out to be a sting operation. So I got a 0 to 5, but they stayed the sentence, and I just did 2 months in jail, and then I had 3 years of not parole, probation.
Okay. So what do you think brought you to doing this? First, it was a 13-year-old girl, and then your own child.
I think I had a lot of personal problems, a lot of self-esteem issues, just unhealthy coping ways to cope with things, addictions.
What kind of addictions?
I had an addiction to porn, a gambling addiction, that I would use these things to escape from life's problems. It was an escape for me. It was a way to shut myself out and to numb myself.
And I know you've mentioned a couple times the victim. When you were committing these crimes on your daughter, were you considering the long-term damage it was going to obviously do to her?
No, I was not.
Do you know why that would be?
Because I was being selfish. I was only thinking of myself. I wasn't thinking about her. Wasn't thinking about the consequences. for her or for anybody. I was just thinking about what felt good at the moment.
Okay, so did you receive in your blue packet a copy of your sex offense treatment summary report?
The letter that Guy Finnecam wrote.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm just going to review the recommendation. It says that it is recommended that Mr. Barry first complete his current treatment program. When the time comes for release into the community, it will be important that Mr. Barry receive both clinical and supervisory report in the implementation, adaptation, and maintenance of his success plan. It also states the concerns are that you hope to release to a friend's home in Cache County where there may be an on-site truck driving job available where he hopes to work until he can renew his CDL. Whenever Mr. Barry ends up living, it will be important that he effectively engage in his success plan, which will include aftercare, social support, along with solid behavioral plans and interventions with to deal with high-risk situations. Do you agree with that recommendation and the concerns?
I do agree with it.
Okay, so if the board did order sex offender treatment upon your release or aftercare, do you agree to participate in that?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. All right, so from what I gathered from your institutional progress report and also the reports from corrections, you do plan on at least working in a truck yard until you get your CDL back. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. The job I have lined up, it's in the truck yard and it's just shuttling trailers to and back and forth from their yard to the plant. It's a dairy
Okay.
plant.
And then tell me, who is it that you're planning on living with? I think you wrote a friend in Logan.
Yeah, it's he's actually in here in the program right now. He's releasing next week. And he actually works at the dairy plant.
Mm.
So he's the one who's lined that job up for me. And he said he has an extra room that he could rent.
Okay. Do you think it's a good idea to be living with another sex offender that just got out of prison?
Actually I do because my therapist told me, he says that we most likely would be in the same aftercare group and that we could be each other's support. And he is in my support group on my success plan.
Okay. And then in your institutional progress report, the packet that you filled out, you listed some names of people that could be a support to you in the community. Who are those people?
Miguel Gutierrez, he's the one I'll be living with. Jose Mendez, Jordan Hill, Dakota Mullins, Jackie Humes.
Are those all friends?
They're all people I'm in the program with. And we're all in the same group. And so we've all agreed that when we get out, we would be each other's support. And that if we need somebody, that we're there for them.
Okay, and then you also listed some state agencies that could provide some support, like Department of Workforce Services, and some. Let me find it. Department of Workforce Services, Aftercare, and the LDS Church. So what do you plan to seek from them? Because you have this support group from people who just got out of prison. so what can these agencies provide to you?
The Department of Workforce Services, I believe that they could help me obtain my CDL, and if not, they could point me to the direction I need to go. Probably through voc rehab or one of those departments.
Okay, did you have your CDL? You did prior to your arrest.
But it's lapsed, so it's expired, and I'll have to
Okay, got it. And
Um,
then keep going.
the church, I hope to find a good adult ward and meet some new friends in that area, and have a good support system through there.
Okay, and is there any other people or places that you could go for support if you find yourself struggling?
My father, but
Okay.
he's 95. So
And where does he live?
he lives in St. George.
Okay.
And then I have a brother who lives in St. George as well.
Okay. Are you in contact with them?
I call my dad every week, a couple times a week, but my brother will send an occasional email back and forth.
Okay. All right, and let's look at the treatment that you've completed so far. So let's see, you completed in 2021 MRT. You graduated from high school. The board did receive the request for a time cut from Department of Corrections. When you did that, the board did acknowledge it, and they will consider high school graduation and that request now when they're making their decision from this hearing. You also completed SOTP pre and pre-treatment life skills in 2024, and you're currently in SOTP and SOTP therapy groups. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then you're currently, your sentence, your life top. This is your second offense conviction that's regarding a sex offense. Your victim in this case is your child. So why should the board consider you for parole at this point versus keeping you in prison for the rest of your life?
I believe that I've made a lot of progress since I've come to prison. I still have a lot more progress to make. It's a never-ending journey. But I believe that I would actually be of more use out there, and if given a chance for parole, be allowed to prove myself again, that I can be a functioning member of society.
Okay. And do you, the only thing that's kind of jumping out to me is the support that you've listed, and the people that you want to hang out with are people that you are currently going through treatment with. Now, of course, they do offer a level of support, and that's what your therapist said. On the other hand, if one of them relapses, starts participating in illegal activity in regards to violating their parole agreement by engaging in contacting minors or looking at pornography online, using drugs, how do you think you're going to be able to avoid being sucked into that? Because a lot of the time, associates are what people are coming back here for, because they're influenced by the people around them.
I would, if that was the case, I would bring it to their attention, and if it continued, if I know if they were in my group, I would bring it up in group, to the therapist's attention, and I would stop associating with that person.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like in something we haven't addressed, because this is your first hearing, January of 2024, you did have a disciplinary. It was for having 185 loose heartburn pills in your property. Tell me what went on with that.
Okay, that was, so some days I take them and other days I don't need them. So I would save them just in case I do need them. Because at the time, there was problems with getting refills on my medication. I'd have to wait a week or two. And when you have heartburn, you have to wait for your medication. It's not the most pleasant thing.
Mhm.
So it was just a backup for me. So I made sure I always had my heartburn pills.
Okay, so were you prescribed these pills?
I was.
Okay. What was the outcome of the disciplinary? Did you lose levels? Did you have to pay a fine, or what happened with that?
The outcome was that I just had a week with I couldn't do movement for a week. I was
Okay.
restricted to the section. That was the only outcome.
Okay. Now, is there anything else that you want to tell me about these, your commitment offenses, about what you've done in prison or your plans for release that we haven't covered yet?
So I again want to say that I'm sorry for what I did. I feel bad about it. I feel bad for her, what it's done to her. I'm just taking what I've learned, what I'm learning in the program, what I have learned already, and I plan to apply that. I'm not only learning how to cope and how to see people differently. I'm learning warning signs, and so that this never happens again. And like I said, my plan is just to get back to work and to get on my feet and to do my aftercare and be successful on my parole and be successful in my life.
Okay, so sir, here's what's going to happen. Going to take everything we discussed here today and submit it to the board along with all the documentation that we already have. In the next 30 days or so, the board will determine whether or not to grant you a parole. If you are given a parole, you'll receive the decision in inmate mail. It'll come to you either that route or through a caseworker. In the decision, you'll find out the date of release along with any special conditions. I would place special attention to those conditions of parole. If the board decides to continue this hearing and see you again somewhere down the road or up until your life sentence, you'll find that out as well. It'll come in an envelope through either the inmate mail or your caseworker, and you'll find out either way if you get a release or if we're going to do something different and keep you in custody. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't.
Okay, so at this time, I am going to just wish you luck, and I'll conclude this hearing. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This is the time and place set for a rescission hearing for Martin Cole.
ده القرار بتاعك.
Offender number
هم يعني هيقولوه لك.
offender number 206073. Is that you, sir?
Yes.
هو ده الرقم بتاعك. Yes.
I'm Melissa Stapley. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today.
هي اسمها ميليسا وهي في البتاعة بتاعتك النهاردة في كورت ده النهاردة وهتقول لك اللي هي بتاع القرارات بتاعتهم بتاعت المحكمة النهاردة.
كويس.
I'm going to be taking testimony from you, so I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please?
هي هتقعد تسألك فأنت هترفع إيدك.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
أنت عارف إن الحاجات دي اللي هيسألها لك النهاردة حقيقية؟
أيوة.
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, did you receive 7 days written notification of this hearing and a copy of your blue packet?
وصل لك رسالة إن النهاردة عندك هيرينج وجالك كده جواب يعني فيه الحاجات دي؟
أيوة.
Yes.
You can put your hand down.
نزل إيدك.
Everything in your blue packet is a copy of what the board is going to use in part to make their decision today.
يعني كل الحاجات اللي وصلت لك في الجواب اللي جالك ده هيتكلموا عليها بحيث إن يشوفوا القرار بتاعهم النهاردة.
I'm going to go ahead and summarize what occurred up to this point in regards to your status with the board.
هتلخص الحاجات اللي هي المكتوبة النهاردة اللي هي جت لك.
You were scheduled to parole April 22nd, 2025, if you completed sex offender treatment.
أنت كملت اللي هي السكس أوفندر تريتمنت دي المعالجة؟
You're currently in sex offender treatment and sex offender treatment groups with a completion date of May 2025.
يعني أنت لسه في طريقة المعالجة بتاعت السكس دي وهي May 2025. يعني هتكمل لغاية May 2025.
The Department of Corrections notified the board that you would not complete treatment in time for your release date.
يعني أنت هم إنهم وصل لهم إن أنت ما كملتش المعادلة ما كملتش لسه المعالجة.
So that's the reason for this hearing today.
ليه؟ عشان كده هو النهاردة السبب إن أنت موجود النهاردة في المحكمة.
Is there anything that you want to add or clarify about what I just told you?
في أي حاجة محتاج إن أنت تضيفها تقولها لهم أو إن أنت حاجة مثلا يوضحها لك أكتر؟
ايوه بس قول لها انا ممكن بتكلم بالانجليزي حبه بس حاسس دي انا مش بسمع العربيه بتاعنا ولكن انا ممكن بتكلم من الانجليش معايا لو هي دايره.
يعني أنت عاوز تتكلم إنجليزي معاها عادي وتسمع
أيوة.
عادي لو في زنقة أنا أتكلم؟
ايوه عشان انا مش عارف لو تسمعني في العربيه السودانيه.
طيب حاضر. Yeah, she would like to talk with you by English and hear you by English because sometimes the Sudanese is different. And if he's stuck, I will jump on and translate.
Okay. Mr. Cole, if that's okay with you, yes, you can tell me in English.
Yeah, if that's okay with you لو هو ده خلاص اوكي معاك مظبوط اتكلم بالانجليزي واسمعها ولو انت وقفت انا هتكلم.
ايوه كويسه.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So is there anything that you want to add about the reason you're here and that your date was rescinded?
Well, because I understanding is because I'm not going to be finished by the date that you guys already given me, and because I am contingency to complete the program, right? That's
Right.
why I've been rescheduled to come in and see further notes from you guys.
Okay. Do you know when you're going to graduate?
Well, I believe it's going to be ending of May.
Okay.
But they say when I came in, the officially date that we signed it was June 2nd.
Okay.
That was the official graduation, but sometime it could be earlier, like the ending of May.
Got it. Okay. So let me just ask you real quick. What are your plans for parole?
My plan for parole, I already talked to my case manager that I would like to go to a halfway house, and
Okay.
I want to go to halfway house there and just start there, you know, and start working from there, and a little bit by little bit until I can get better in a society where I can feel more stable and comfortable, that I have enough money saved to get in a job, an apartment that I can live in. But I also do, and if that doesn't happen, I also have my grandma that she's willing to take me to live in with her and to stay with her. But I just told her that I prefer to start out with a halfway house. I want to start on my own there.
Okay. And where does your grandmother live?
She lives in Murray. That's in
Okay.
Salt Lake.
And what type of work do you plan on finding?
So as for right now, I've been planning, well, this is the thing I've been learning here. We have this class that is a trucking company thing that I'm willing to start when I get out. But before that, I'm going to plan on going to a JMH. It's a sanitation job that I was working in before.
Okay.
And they're okay with me coming back there to work. And so.
Okay. So when you say trucking, you're going to eventually try to get your CDL?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right.
And that'll probably take me about 2 years, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing the sanitation, but that's my future plan that I want to do, driving truck.
Okay. And if the board, which they most likely will, order sex offender treatment or at least aftercare, are you willing to participate in that in the community?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Okay. And then one other thing I just saw that jumped out at me, previously to your commitment to prison, you had been placed on probation 3 times. All of those ended up being unsuccessful. So what do you think you can do differently so you're not going to end up back here on a parole violation?
Definitely this time is before that is because I really didn't know ways to fix my emotional, my coping with my emotional feelings and stuff. And so now I'm learning the ways that if I'm feeling like, in a bad position, or if I'm feeling down or feeling lonely or feeling that life is kind of getting rough, getting hard for me, is that I can reach out to families or a friend or, people that are healthy for me. Because before I was not in that road. I always thought I can just do it by myself, or I can just turn to alcohol or whatever they can numb my feelings down. And so, and this is the thing that I want to do, and I've been doing it here with my community, my peers, and we can able to communicate our feelings and be vulnerable with one each other, that we can, see what is bothering me, and what's that I can do to help that emotion that I'm feeling with a healthier way than just turning to drugs or watching pornography. And so, yes.
Okay. Do you think that you're going to have any issues with drugs or alcohol at the time of release?
I'm right now, what I'm at right now, emotionally stable, because since I came in, when I went to prison, there was a lot of drugs going on and alcohol, and I refused to touch any of those because I turned to I didn't want to do those no more. And it's been about 3 years and I haven't touched any. So I feel I am capable of staying sober now.
Okay.
And if I can, and not if I'm going to have a healthier people in my life, that's one thing I'm trying to do, and to not go back to my old friends or to the old places I used to hang in. And so I want to avoid all this thing and have a new people in my life, which is my grandma, my other brothers. And I'm going to go back to church and maybe I can build a new relationship with them over there, and I can continue further with the new people in my life that are healthier and not using drugs.
Okay. Okay, sir. So, is there anything else that you want to tell me that we haven't discussed regarding your sex offender treatment completion, or any plans for release that we haven't discussed that I can send to the board?
Honestly, I think we cover everything that I feel that I need when I get out, So
Okay.
My first one is that I want to go to halfway house and start everything there with my own, to be independent for myself.
All right. Okay, sir. So this is just a real short hearing. It's easy because you already know the reason why you're here. and you understand. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to submit what we discussed here today to the board, let them know the plans for release and that you have plans to complete sex offender treatment the end of May, but the official date is June 2nd, but we understand that sometimes it could be sooner. In the next week or two, you should find out from the board their decision. Yeah, I'm sure it will include that contingency to complete complete sex offender treatment, and then you'll receive a new date. So do you have any questions about that?
I definitely don't. So I just want to say thank you guys, and I'm really, trying my best here and working to when I get out there, I want to have empathy and working to care for people, right, and caring for also for myself. Those things that I didn't have. And this program actually have shown me those things about myself, and seeing my errors thinking the way I used to think before. And so I just want to say thank you guys for putting me in this program and to work better myself and to also have a better living with the society out there when I'm able to get out again. And I am sorry for my victim that I didn't have caring at the time when I did the crime that I did. I didn't have a feeling or caring for her, and I am sorry for that. And I'm really working that I do not ever commit any kind of crime like this to a person again. And so I am thankful for being in this program right now. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, sir, that's it for this hearing. I wish you the best of luck, and just keep an eye on your mail, or your caseworker will bring over their decision in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Shukran, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Have a good day.
Okay. Shukran, Rhonda. Shukran.
Yeah, شكرا ربنا معاك. Yeah, thank you so much. My honor for having me with you.
Oh, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good morning. This is the time and place set for a rescission hearing for Michael Jensen, offender number 103622. Is that you, sir?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Melissa Stapley. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting this hearing today. I'm going to be taking testimony from you, but before we start, I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Did you receive 7 days written notification of this hearing and a copy of your blue packet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Everything in your blue packet is a copy of what the board will use when making their decision, along with my report. Is there anything in that blue packet that you want to clarify or point out for the board to consider?
No. The only thing that I would say about the packet is the letter that you got from, I don't remember the guy's name. The SOTP guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. Brian something. In it said that, well, it said the same thing it did before, but it's not quite accurate.
Okay, so tell me what the correction should be.
So on it, it says that I was under an appeal. It is not an appeal.
Okay. What is it?
They said that I was, that the appeal had been denied, but it was not an appeal. It was a 19 No, it was a 65C,
Okay,
not an appeal. And there's a
Okay.
different,
right. Okay, I'll be sure to note that. Now, was that 65C, what's the status of it?
I've kind of let it go.
Okay,
I've kind of just stayed away from it because it causes me too much aggravation to
okay.
sit and write legal stuff.
Okay, so in the report we received from the Department of Corrections, it says, let me see.
Unmet contingency.
No, I know that the appeal was found without merit, but have you received a decision in regards to that? I know you said you let it go, but have you received any communication on the status of it?
On the appeal or the 19 or the 65C?
The 65C.
The 65C, I have not pursued it.
Okay, got it.
Any farther than where I did.
Okay. So right now it looks like the board scheduled you for a release April 1st of 2025. However, we were notified by the Department of Corrections you haven't met the sex offender treatment program contingency, so your date was rescinded. Department of Corrections indicates that you were sent 2 reminders to enroll in treatment on August of 2020 and September of 2024. However, you did not respond or enroll in treatment. What do you want to tell me about that?
Part of that is accurate, and part of
What
that
part?
is not quite accurate.
Okay.
In 2020, what did you say? What was the first one?
August of 2020.
The August of 2020, my court was still going on.
Okay.
So I was not, at that time, I was heavily pursuing court action.
Got it.
However, when they sent the one in September, I went to my caseworker, talked to my caseworker about it. I was informed by him to send Miss, who's the captain?
I don't work down there. I don't know. It
Waltrip.
doesn't matter. So you sent a request to the captain.
Captain Waltrip.
Okay.
Let her know of my intentions. However, the caseworker thinks that maybe there was some well, apparently she retired.
Okay.
So I had written her to inform her because she's the only person I've ever talked to from SOTP.
Mm.
She called down here and talked to me for like 10 minutes one time, like in 2021 or something.
Okay.
And I told her what was going on with my court, and she said, I can't do anything with you because of that. So she says, when you are ready, you write me a letter. You write directly to me. So I followed those instructions, and at that time, Lieutenant Kiesel, who is the IPP, he's our lieutenant.
Okay.
Here. So they gave me a gate pass so that I could go to the kitchen because they needed help here in the kitchen, and you have to have a gate pass. So they allowed me to have a gate pass under the understanding when I got notification, when my court stuff was exhausted and I decided I wanted to go, and they wrote me the letter. They said, then Lieutenant Kiesel has been trying to get me moved to a jail that accommodates this. However, then they found out that Miss Waltrip retired. And that maybe my letter didn't get to her. Or it's on her desk, in her mailbox, or somewhere else.
Okay.
So the
So-
case, so the
Go ahead.
caseworker said that after this hearing,
Mhm.
that Monday, him and I are gonna sit down and make sure the proper people get the notification.
Okay.
Depending on what you decide.
Right. Okay, I understand. So it sounds like you were notified in September of 2024. You
Yes.
attempted to reach out to the person who retired to request sex offender treatment, and they have retired, and it just kind of died at that point.
Yes,
So Monday, you're going to work with your caseworker to go to the correct person to request to be enrolled in treatment.
yes.
Got it. Okay. So if the board decides to grant you another release date, most likely with that contingency still applied, what are your plans for parole?
Well, I would like to tell you one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
My family hired a therapist to come here and see me
Okay.
and to talk to me because we have a thing called getting out. It is a thing that does this, that we're doing, this, what the heck's it called? Video chat,
Uh-huh.
FaceTime or whatever.
Okay.
So we have that, and my family hired a lady, a doctor to talk to me. And
Mhm.
she was waiting until January to write you a letter and notify you of what her findings are as far as how dumb I am on a scale of 1 to 10 or whatever. But she was gonna write a report to you to notify, let you know. So I haven't been sitting on my rear end, and I've been doing a bunch of classes.
Okay.
Oh, did you get the
Yes.
certificate?
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized packet with the listing of all the classes you've taken and the jobs that you've done since you've been incarcerated.
Yes.
Yes, we did receive it, and I was including that in my report. So, yeah, definitely have the therapist send that over in January like she planned. If the board does grant you a release, what would your plans be?
I have a job. I have a great opportunity to go back to my hometown. I have huge support.
Okay.
And I have an address.
Okay, where's that at?
It would be 17600.
Just the town, just the
Oh.
town.
It would be, it's in Cedar City, but my where I would be living is in Lund,
Okay.
which is way out in the boonies.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to run equipment and live out on the ranch and herd cows.
Okay. And when you live in Lund, are you living alone or with family? Who would you live with?
I'm gonna live by myself.
Okay.
I just want to, so you know, APMP in Iron County was contacted by my family,
Okay.
and they said that would be a great place for me to go.
Okay.
They would be more than happy to approve that.
All right. And then you mentioned your support system. So who do you have for support?
Well, I've lost my mom and dad,
Mhm.
Which is really devastating. However, I still have cousins.
Okay.
I still have aunts and uncles. I still have kids.
Okay.
I still have grandkids that are cowboys and farmers and ranchers. And I have a huge amount of friend support from friends.
Okay.
I've done a bunch of family history for a bunch of the people down there, and they were pretty excited about it, and they've really come out to support me.
Okay, great. So, if you are released, this would be your 8th parole attempt overall.
Yeah.
So what do you think you would be doing differently on a next parole that would keep you from us seeing you a 9th time?
I don't know how to put it in, Dr. Oz's terms. So I'll put it in redneck terms.
That's
Just
the
a
best
small town
terms.
Kid from Iron County.
That's what I understand.
I'm sick and tired of doing time.
Okay.
This is not my kind of time.
Okay.
This is horrible time. This is hard time. And I want to, I guess it's probably, well, I guess it'll make sense, but my mom and dad died while I was here.
Okay.
And that's a huge hole for me. And I've never got closure. But they were great people. And I want to get that closure.
Okay.
And there's 2 ways for me to get that closure. One is go to the cemetery, sit down there and talk to them, tell them I'm sorry, and then show that by doing good things. It probably doesn't sound like much, but since I've been here, while I was in the kitchen, I started a program for Shop with a Cop.
Okay.
I got it cleared through the captain, the sergeant, and the sheriff that we could do that. And this year we put $1,000 in the pockets of the people here to help some little kid that doesn't have the opportunity to maybe have a coat or something.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel that I can do more of that out there, and then my parents can rest in peace.
Okay, got it.
But I would like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
In the times that I've been before the board in the last couple of years,
Yes.
each and every time they came back with something different. And I'm not talking about the date. I'm talking about what they wanted me to do. In 2020, the guy said, I want you to go do pre-SOTP. The problem was we were locked down in COVID.
Yeah.
They weren't moving people. They didn't have therapists coming in. So they took my date, but they wanted me to do pre-SOTP and then go the halfway out. The next time it was SOTP-A and mental health and a couple other things. And then the next time it was SOTP-B. I don't know the difference between them, but it changed. To be quite honest with you, I was confused. Because
Well, one thing, sir, I can say is, over time, you've been in the system for a minute, right? So over time, board members change. And I really can't tell you what they're going to decide because, they're 5 separate people with 5 separate decisions that they come up with. And as you know, 3 of the 5 have to agree. So I could see over time how those requirements would change just based off of the board members deciding that, this treatment program is more important than whatever was ordered before because they're looking at it with a different set of eyes. And so I honestly can't tell you what they'll decide just because I can't read the board members' minds, So I can understand your frustration though. And
Not so much frustration, it's just
confusion.
confusion.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But the other part of this is too, is I can afford to pay every therapist in Iron County
okay.
to deal with me. To
Okay.
help. And I am more than willing, if the board would just say, okay, Mr. Jensen, we're gonna let you go home, but we're gonna put you under some strict guidelines. APMP is gonna make sure you do this, this, and this. I don't have a problem paying for it. I don't have a problem doing it. I'm gonna jump through whatever hoops I have to do in order to not make my parents disappointed in me again.
Okay. Have you ever completed sex offender treatment?
No, I completed Conquest. The board
Okay.
told me to go do Conquest, and then there was another change. I did
Okay.
Conquest in like 30 life skills classes.
Yeah, I saw all of those, but I was trying to remember if I saw that you completed sex offender treatment. So, you know how this goes. I'll submit to the board everything that we discussed here today. I will point out all of those classes, the certificates that you sent in and your credit hours and the time in the kitchen. So they're aware of that. It should be 1 to 2 weeks before you receive their decision. Now, it could be the same thing, just with a different date for you to complete treatment, but I will let them know that you've been meeting with a therapist and also you're willing to do treatment on the outside if that's something the board is willing to consider. So I'll put all that in my report. You should find out either through your caseworker or through inmate mail what their decision is, just like always. And you'll see it when it comes in the mail, what their decision is. But other than that, I really can't speculate which way they'll go. So do you have any other questions?
My caseworker didn't even want to hand me the papers for the rescission because when he found out, he was like, I don't want to tell him this. And then he got chewed out by the ladies in the kitchen because then I can't have a gate pass.
Oh.
So if I have a date, I have a gate pass. If I don't, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to get this over to them as soon as I can.
Okay.
And that'll speed up their decision making. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir. So at this time, I am going to conclude the hearing and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So it looks like the hearings have come to an end. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to at Collect Call From. We should be having some other hearings coming through. This hearing was actually live. The hearings that I run from what state is it? It's from Minnesota. Those aren't live. The reason I'm doing it like that is because there's such a backlog on those hearings that and I'm able to, and they keep them up on their website. So whenever you see the Minnesota ones, those are not live, but normally, like the Utah, the Colorado, or not Colorado, what is it, Connecticut, and all those other states, those are normally run live, all right? So anyhow, like I said around here, it lights like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out. A rato.